It is 6 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans offense stalled out yesterday as they fall to the Jaguars 25-3. The Titans gained just 188 yards of total offense and gained only 11 first downs. Cam Ward threw for 141 yards, and Tony Pollard led the team in rushing with 60 yards on the ground. The Titans are 1-11 on the season. For Jacksonville, with their win yesterday, they are now tied with Indianapolis for first place in the AFC South at 8-4. Indianapolis lost to Houston yesterday 20-16. In college football on Saturday, Vanderbilt outscored Tennessee 31-3 in the final minutes of the first half and beyond for the rest of the game to go on to win 45-24. Diego Pavia threw for 268 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and also rushed for 165 yards on the ground as well as a touchdown. Also, a lot of twists and turns over the weekend in college football coaching carousel, so stay with me. After beating Mississippi State Friday night, Lane Kiffin declared yesterday that he will now be the head coach of LSU and not coach Ole Miss in the playoffs, per AD Keith Carter. The Rebels shortly after hired defensive coordinator Pete Golding as their next permanent head coach, and he will be the coach of Ole Miss moving forward and in the playoffs. Auburn hired former USF head coach Alex Golesh to be the Tigers' next head coach, replacing Hugh Freeze. Florida hired former Tulane head coach John Summerall as their next head coach, replacing Billy Napier. Former Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald returns to the Big Ten as the Michigan State's head coach after they fired Jonathan Smith yesterday. Arkansas has their next head coach in Memphis's Ryan Silverfield, replacing Sam Pittman. And yesterday, Kentucky fired head coach Mark Stoops yesterday after 13 seasons of coaching. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running on a Monday morning edition of Ramon and Will, back from vacation, back from the Thanksgiving week, back in studio. It's one of those days where 4 hours might not be enough time. And we've got more hours than anybody else on this station. Well, it still is going to feel fast. Don't blink. You might miss a little bit of it. Tennessee falls to Vanderbilt in Neyland Stadium, and it wasn't even close in the second half. We'll take a look at what's next for both teams. First for Vanderbilt and their playoff hopes, then for Tennessee as they move forward. Yesterday in Nissan Stadium, the Titans blown out again, this time to the Jacksonville Jaguars, another AFC South loss. We will talk about that. We'll take a lot of your phone calls. 615-737-1045 with the crew back together.
Yay.
Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, our producer, myself, Will Bowling, streaming live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Good morning, Ramon Foster. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Much needed break, not needed weekend, okay? Just a long losing weekend. Literally every team that I covered this weekend lost, except for the men's basketball team, where they lost over the weekend, the Vols men's basketball team. I will take the Houston dub, though. I will take that all day long. But the Kansas one, lost that one. Vols lost. We'll get to that one. Steelers lost. Lady Vols lost to UCLA. And Titans lost yesterday. Just a long losing weekend.
Well, we know what many of you are here for. You are here to wallow in Ramon and I's misery in terms of the Tennessee loss to Vanderbilt. And many of you who have been listening all season know we will call it like it is. We will give Vanderbilt their props for what they did on Saturday afternoon in Neyland Stadium. We'll dive into the playoff resumes, all of those things. We will spend more time on college football today than maybe any Monday show that Ramon and I have ever done together. But we're not going to do it yet. So, again, don't come at us with you're ducking the... No. We're going to do more college football today than ever before, but it's going to start an hour or two. So you can stick around for that if you want to wallow in misery, if you want to spike the football in Vanderbilt. That will begin at 7 o'clock. Normally we start college football at 8. No, we're going to do it an hour earlier. We're going to also do 8 o'clock on college football and even a little bit of the 9 a.m. hour. So... that is that. But we will start this morning with the Tennessee Titans, who lost 25-3 yesterday in Nissan Stadium. Ramon, it feels like the steps forward over the last 2 weeks were taken away. It feels like we took steps back yesterday. What stood out to you?
It did. I know Babs and 3HL and Babs have this have this promo going and say, don't say it can't get worse. It got worse yesterday. That's kind of the way I looked at it. I watched it again last night just because I wanted to see some stuff. I had a podcast I had to shoot yesterday, so I kind of missed a little of the third quarter. And I went back and watched it, and it became comical almost. Like, that's how bad yesterday was, I felt like, for the Titans. Heck, I'll even throw my Steelers under the bus. It was comical for them, too, the way they got belt to behind yesterday in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to a tackle-less Buffalo Bills team. But what I'm getting at is this. It's bad. And watching just the quality of play, the penalties for the extracurricular stuff that they had during that Jaguars game was bad. Cam's... If we're going to excuse, can we just go ahead and get this out the way? The team is just bad.
Sure.
All right, but you can also say you're playing bad on a bad team also. The offensive line played bad. J.C. Latham had some issues again. Even though he didn't give up a sack, Dan Moore looked bad. The running backs looked bad. The wide receivers looked bad. The drops that they also had was bad defensively. The whole nobody runs on the Tennessee Titans, I think mantra is just shattered at this point too. It was just bad football. It was so bad yesterday that it was hard watching the TV copy of the film of the game yesterday because on punts and I guess high passes, the cameras wouldn't even pan to the midsection and top of the stadiums also. Like, I don't know if anybody caught this, there. But I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's that bad. Like,
after a holiday weekend, fan base that does not bring a lot of fans here, not great weather. It was an empty.
You couldn't even get a really good. Yeah, you couldn't even get a real good camera angle. Will, and I just don't have a whole lot of answers for them other than let's talk about the problems that they have. These are family problems. Let's do it.
Yeah, it didn't look like NFL football on or off the field.
No.
I think is the best way to put it, right? It was not a normal atmosphere. It was not a normal football game. Mm-hmm. You had more personal foul penalties than you did points in this game from the Titans' perspective. I think Cam Ward is starting to be on the other extreme of what he was to start the season.
Yeah.
And to start the year, it felt a lot like 15, 20-yard low percentage passes. It felt like a lot of chances were being taken. Now the opportunities that are given to you, it's almost like Cam has gotten too conservative, or at least did in this game.
Yeah.
His longest completion of the day was just 16 yards. Cam was 24 of 38 for 141 yards in the game. He did not target a receiver more than 20 yards down the field. He didn't trust his pocket. He held onto the ball for too long. A lot of it was kind of odd regression to me, Ramon, because even against Seattle and Houston, when there weren't really wide windows to throw the ball into, he was at least giving his receivers a chance down the field. I did not see that in this game. I did not see Cam taking the right kinds of chances. It felt like the chances he were taking was when he would just dance into pressure. And he would have a long time to throw, would have a clean pocket, then all of a sudden he puts his head down like, crap, where do I go? And again, it comes down to the decisiveness and the predictability of what Cam's going to do in the pocket. When he's got a rush lane up the middle of the pocket and is decisive about when to take it, he's great. But when you can tell he does not have the answer to the test as he is scrambling and as he is trying to figure out where to go, you get a game like you did yesterday.
You did, and he set Tajay up on one of those plays too. He was looking down the field on, I think it was a 4th and long situation for the big play. And I'm thinking to myself, in these situations, understand what you're getting yourself into. It's 4th and 18, I think it was at the time. And he rolled out. Tajay was open in the flat early. Tajay could at least created something, man. Maybe got 18 of those yards or 15 of those yards, something at least to put on the stat book, right? He's looking down the field, eyes, and then at the last second, right before he crosses the line of scrimmage, he dumps it off to Tajay and got a kill.
Yeah, that was on 4th and 18 from the Titans' 47-yard line. It was a 5-yard completion up to the Jags' 48. A turnover on downs with 6:48 left in the game.
As a quarterback, you can't set your guys up like that. Those hospital balls belong to the quarterback. I'm not saying he had one yesterday, but the quarterback has to know what kind of position he's putting his guys in. And I honestly felt bad for Tajay in that moment because he had a lot of grass at first to work with, and then
he did.
You dump it off late, and he gets power drived right there on the sideline. Just that's not okay. But to your point, like you said, when he got an answer early, he can go to it. If he doesn't, then it's indecisive, man. But also, just looking at this, too, they had 11 drives yesterday, 11 first downs total. 1 first down per drive average is what that was.
4 3-and-outs and a 1.3 3-and-outs in a row in the second quarter.
11 first downs.
At one point in this game between the Titans and Jags, there were 6, I believe, consecutive 3-and-outs.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
6 straight 3-and-outs between these two offenses.
Yeah, to your point, it didn't look like NFL football.
Defense was okay, but again, still gives up too many big plays. At one point, there were 76 yards on 2 plays in a row for the Jacksonville Jaguars offense on their touchdown drive to take a 7-3 lead. I think the biggest indictment of where this team is right now is that a fumbled kickoff return that sets up the Jags in plus territory in the first quarter. The touchdown on that drive felt insurmountable.
Yeah, man.
15-3 felt like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
Separated score. They're going to pin their ears back. The Titans are in predictable passing situations. And the sad part of that is that they ran the ball well on the first drive. Tony Pollard on the first possession of this game had 3 carries for 36 yards. Then they go to an end around to Chemre DK as they get in the red zone. Then they go 8 straight plays without a Tony Pollard touch. Mm-hmm. In the second half, Tony had 4 carries for 17 yards. Finally, you had some semblance of a run game early in this game, and they went away from it. They really just did not continue to benefit from being able to run the football. 10 carries for 60 yards for Tony. He averaged 6 yards per carry and had 10 carries in the football game.
Especially with no Eric Armstead out there also.
Yes.
You having the ability to take advantage of that situation, and you did not. The script, I got to give it to him. Opening script last 2 weeks, been good.
It's been a lot better.
It's been good.
But then what else?
And
what's the counterpunch? What else can you do?
I joke about this type of stuff all the time, but it goes back to the whole Coach Klein, just using that analogy, Coach Klein waterboard situation. Like, where's the rest of your playbook? What makes you comfortable to not be scared after that first drive? And it seems the last 2 weeks has been nothing. Like you said, there's been, just an inkling of, hey, this is going to be a competent offense today, and then absolutely nothing. And then the breakdowns, too. Kevin Winston Jr. starts off fire hot defensively, got a 3-and-out on the defense, and then they found his weakness. He can't have good eyes on the back end of the defense, and they worked him. They worked him yesterday.
Wide open for your phone calls on this Reaction Monday, 615-737-1045. Starting with Titans here in hour 1, getting to Tennessee and Vanderbilt for the 2 hours after that. We've got Lane Kiffin finally making a decision. We've got coaching carousel moves, and we've got a lot of your reactions. 615-737-1045. Open for your Titans calls and our biggest concerns that of Titans and Jaguars coming up next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk has shifted on you. Your driveway is cracked and sinking, or maybe your porch steps have moved. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation and just trip hazard around your home. Well, it's also just a big eyesore. It's Ramon Falson. Whatever is going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time. It's the same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can also fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair your sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after about 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Reach out to the company I trust, man. You can go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Monday morning on Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone and 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. At Will_Bowling, at Ramon Foster, where you get us on Twitter, at Ramon and Will, where you follow the show. Progress had been made. Yesterday, there was no signs of positivity, of progress, of fun, especially not on offense. Titans convert 2 of 12 third down opportunities at 16.7%. They were 1 of 4 on fourth down. Ramon, they were conservative. They were not clean. There were self-inflicted errors. What is the number one thing that concerns you most out of the Titans' 25-3 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday?
The inability to score points. Every NFL team should have the ability to be able to score points, and they can't find rhythm through the air or on the ground to keep the game close and competent, man. I think that would just drive me crazy. I heard people, it may have been Zach and them speaking afterwards, or it may have been the broadcast of you guys, but they've gone, I think, 12 halves of not scoring a point at all. Like, that is disheartening when it's your job.
Not 12 straight, obviously.
No, not 12 straight, just throughout the duration of the season, that you don't put up any points at all in a half as far as scores, touchdowns, points. As an offensive player and as somebody that has watched this team draft the number 1 overall quarterback, you would have thought, looking at what last year's team was, that you'd have the ability to put 7 up from time to time. Like you said, when it went 15-3 at that point in the game, you felt the panic set in, even through the television set. You felt the history show up this year that they won't be able to come back from 12 points, and it held to be true. That would piss me off. I'll be honest with you. And I got to go beat my head in every single play as a player, and we can't even find a way to put up 6 points.
It's really frustrating, and I think the easiest way to put it is like nothing's easy and nothing's fun.
Yeah.
There's just not really anything to hang your hat on. Last week, the Titans had 4 drives of 9+ plays. In this game, they had 2. 2 plays, or two drives of 9+ plays. The second to last drive of the game was the second one. The first drive was the first one. You bookended the game with some sort of competence. At the end of the game, the Jags are just trying to keep you from scoring 50-yard touchdowns to get right back in it. So you don't really get credit for that one. What I will give them credit for is they had 1 competent drive in this football game. 1. That's just not close to, it's just not close to being good enough. They went 3 and out 4 times, including 3 in a row at the start of the second quarter. They're combined for 23 penalties in this game with Jacksonville. Jags had 13, Titans had 10. Through 3 quarters, Cam Ward had completed 13 of 21 passes, but for only 90 passing yards. Most of his production and passing yards is in garbage time, is against a defense that's just trying to keep you from scoring quickly. How would you assess Cam yesterday, Ramon, and how much of this is on him?
The drops, not on him.
Of course.
Alec Ayumanner has to bring those footballs in. Got to in those situations.
Had 2 of them?
2 of them.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, I thought, could have caught that ball that Cam threw across his body. Was it behind him? Yes, it was.
That was the 1 4th and 1 where they were kind of aggressive early in this game.
And then, again, the decision-making from him to get that football out and make eye contact with him and not throw, no looker to him. But Tony Pollard's got to bring that one in. My assessment of Cam, man, is it's not good. Bad teams make good players bad. Okay, and I've seen bad players be on good teams that you see them be like, man, that's a nice role player right there. They're not going to be a superstar. But the way I'm watching Cam Ward this year be a part of this Tennessee Titans team is disheartening because you say to yourself, I know there's some talent there. You don't mistakenly become the number 1 overall draft pick by not having the talent. I even look back so much as Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell had the talent to get the job done. Somewhere inside of Cam, that ability to be a really good football player is there. But here's what I will also say. Cam's got to fix himself, too. That whole slinging the football like he's pulling back and shooting a slingshot, not okay. his overthrows yesterday, I think a couple of them, I give him grace. I think there was double coverage on Ellick on the sideline of Chimray. I forget which one it was, and he just threw it 15 yards over him. But you also had a post route that could have extended the drive, and Cam threw it like he was Uncle Rico. It's that side.
The one at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the 3-and-out the Titans had after DK's 47-yard return, which, by the way, should have been even more because Logan Cook tripped him.
He sure did.
And
that'll be a fun.
I was going to say he'll probably get fined for that and for what he told Julius Chestnut after the game, or during the game. Titans got it at the Jags' 38-yard line. This 4-play sequence is essentially the microcosm of the entire football game. Tony Pollard up the middle for 4 yards at the 34. 2nd and 6, no huddle, shotgun. Cam Ward pass incomplete, short to the right. 3rd and 6, Cam Ward pass incomplete, short left to Ellick Manor. They're playing cover 2. He had Ellick between the safety and the corner on the near sideline from where we were sitting in the press box. Cam overshot him, just totally missed him. And then 4th and 6, short left, kind of over the middle, pass to Ellick Manor, right at the sticks, good accurate throw, on time, dropped. 3-and-out, 4-and-out. Jags ball, 13-15 left in the game, 1st and 10 at their own 34. That drive took 49 seconds.
Yeah. That's as quick as it falls off.
We just can't. This can't happen.
No.
It is a different error every time. It's not just one guy. It's not just one thing. And I think we've got to single out the offense a little bit more than the defense, Ramon, because again, I think the defense is making lemonade out of some nearly spoiled lemons.
Fermented.
With all due respect.
Yeah.
They are making it work. They are getting water out of stone is what they are doing. Denard Wilson deserves a lot of credit for finding a way to have a somewhat decent defense. This offense is giving them absolutely no help.
No.
Absolutely no help.
And just when you asked me about Cam again, just thinking through the processes of it yesterday, sacks will happen, and that's fine. But for you to be toying around behind the pocket when you know your protection just isn't there anyway,
can't happen.
Problematic. When you're running up in the pocket and the ball is being held in your hand like it's a bag of chips and somebody knocks it out of your hand, problematic. If it wasn't for Peter Skoronski, that's a sack fumble type of situation right there. Again, like I said, setting up Tajay the way he did to just get plowed at the end of the game, not okay. It's every time I feel like we're watching him, and maybe it's because the team is so bad, and in Cam's past, he's always been able to drag guys out of the depths, right, and make the team better. This isn't that situation. You take the small wins that you have and you carry on from there. Sometimes taking that 7-yarder and punting the football is just all right when you're faced with a 3rd and 18 type of situation right there. His eyes, I feel like, constantly are down the field. And you're missing underneath passes and overthrowing the football in moments that you feel like you're rushed because you want to look for the big-time play, and that's not okay. It's okay to snack, is what I will always say. Not every meal deserves to be a feast. You got to take those snacks in between, man, that carry on drive, and the other part continues, like, it keeps you on the field.
Well, but I think he took too many of them at times yesterday.
Too many snacks? I feel like he ultimately went to them.
Well, two things could be true. You can hunt downfield and push the ball downfield and still get the ball out of your hand quickly.
I agree.
The issue is when he is putting his eyes so far downfield that he's holding the ball too long, that's when bad things are starting to happen. Again, when he is decisive about where to scramble and when to tuck and run, really good things are happening. When he is trying to find an answer as things are breaking down around him, or as he feels like things are breaking down around him, he is running into pressure and making bad decisions at the ends of plays. I think the most important thing we've got to remember with Cam Ward is that progress and growth is not linear.
Right.
You don't go from C+ effort to B- game and just go back up to a B.
Mm-hmm.
If you were in school, just because you got a B+ and an A on 2 tests in a row does not mean that you can just blow off studying for the next exam and automatically trust that you're going to get an A. You're going to have a D-. You're going to have a C+. You're going to have bad grades that are mixed in there. Now, does that mean you've gotten dumber? No. It just means you failed that test.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do well in that test. Cam Ward yesterday did not perform well on the test that he was given by the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. That does not take away the progress that he made against the Seattle Seahawks and the Houston Texans. It does not mean that he is getting worse. It means that yesterday, on Sunday, November the 30th in Nissan Stadium, in his first ever matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars, he was not good.
No.
That's just kind of all it means to me. And we're going to see how he responds to it this upcoming weekend, maybe in the snow in Cleveland. He has got more games left to play this season to try to right this, and he's got 5 tests left. And we're going to talk about this with Josh Heupel in Tennessee. Like, again, growth of programs, growth of coaches, of teams, of players is not always steps up at the same pace every single time. You will have steps back. And unfortunately, yesterday, this was a step in the wrong direction for Cam Ward.
There's a step. There's a point I want to make before we go to calls. Is whether it was Coach Holtz, Nick Holtz, Bo Hardigree, Mike McCoy, or Cam Ward, the scramble and improv offense isn't a proper offense. Trusting him, and I'm not saying that this is a part of the game, but the fact that your big plays come from you rolling out and scrambling, that's not a proper offense. That's not a base. That's not a signs of success constantly when you run an offense like that. So whoever decided that it's okay to let Cam cook, whether it was him forcing them or Mike McCoy saying, well, doggone it, this won't be my problem, or Bo Hardigree and Nick Holtz saying, well, we'll just let him do what he's used to. That's not a proper way to develop a player. Now, if it's Cam just going off script and saying, watch me do my thing, I'm telling you, you'll fail hard in the NFL trying to play like that.
Yeah, it's the issue that a lot of his best moments are happening outside of the structure of the offense. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Cam Ward. Yesterday, speaking with the media, asked, has this team made some strides as the season has gone?
I mean, I'm big on results, so win-loss is the only thing I care about. Strides, we haven't made any strides. We've got the same outcome for the last couple of weeks. So it's more about just winning a football game now, no matter how it gets done, whether one side of the ball is playing good and the other side isn't, or special teams wins the game for us. But it comes down to just winning games.
Did you think that team's today was as interested as it's been in other weeks? You guys have more personal fouls than points. Seemed like a lot of guys weren't that into it.
You saying us? Yeah. No, we into it every week. It's just the way, football goes. I mean, at the end of the day, the personal fouls, we had, the penalties, the bad plays that we had on offense, it all, supported the reason why we lost the game. And that's just something that unacceptable from just us as a organization, and that's just something that we got to improve on.
Titans quarterback Cam Ward speaking after the 25-3 loss to the Jags. Let's go to the phones.
Can I say something real quick? I absolutely hate his first statement right there.
Really?
Win losses is all I care about. He not at that point. The win and losses don't matter at this point, in my personal opinion. The development of his team and constantly getting better, I think, is the biggest take that he should be having. We're personally trying to get better. Like, I get what he's saying. Yes, wins and losses matter. They do. It's not all you should care about at this point, because that, to me, takes away from his development as a football player and the understanding of the situation. Personally, that's just me on that one.
I don't have an issue with it, because if he says the opposite, he's going to get crushed for that, too.
But he didn't have to say wins and losses is all I care about. I didn't think that question was framed to actually give that answer. I get what he's saying. I'm a winner. I care about the end result. The in-between, all of that before the clock's hit zero, that matters. How you throw the football, the decisions you make, your teammates' discipline. All of that matters when you know you're a bad team, too. That's just the only point I want to make on that one.
Matt is in Shelbyville. First up at the phones. You can hop in. We've got a couple lines open at 615-737-1045. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Matt.
Hey, morning. I did want to talk about the coaching search that you're going to have. But this team is so far away. You might be getting the 2027 first-round pick, too. And if that's the case, you might have to start looking for two coaches, because that coach who is going to – I mean, what kind of what kind of guarantee are you going to give this next coach a leash? Because are we finding a coach that's going to coach Cam Ward, or are we going to find a coach that is going to find another quarterback because Cam's not his guy? I mean, how are you going to figure that out?
Yeah.
And two, I disagree with your comments on their strides being made the last 3 weeks. That's insane to me.
Why?
The reason why is because when the game is on the line, there is no gains. The gains are only when the game is out of reach, and at the end of the game, you make throws. But they're in prevent. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. When I need for you to have strides, you didn't do it because you got outscored by 23 points in a row. You gave up 25 points in a row. You've given up all of these drives one by one, back to back to back, and your offense to move the ball. So no, when the game matters, there were no games. And you guys are not saying that.
Well, Matt, that's not really fair because they lost by 3 points to the Texans 2 weeks ago, and they were right in the game with Seattle Seahawks in the second half as well. I don't really know what you expect from them.
Of course they weren't.
What? I mean, it was a 6-point loss to Seattle. I don't know what you want them to do.
Oh, come on. They were never in that game.
AG, but they didn't to your point, I get what you're saying, but like they didn't get out of it also till the end. Like there's also that side of it too. Like
You're being too harsh, Matt.
Yeah, and I man,
thank you for the call.
The frustration I'm here for, absolutely. But you got to call a spade in these type of moments, though, Matt. Like yes, like the games may have been over in your mind, but as far as the players' fight and ability to actually try to stay in it, find an answer towards the end, I will always say, yeah, you got to give credit there. And again, a 1-11 team getting credit is hard for a lot of people to do.
Sure, right. And they don't deserve a lot of credit right now.
No, absolutely not.
But we've got to also, like you said, call a spade, that Cam Ward has gotten better the last 2 weeks. Go look at what Josh Allen has done against some of these defenses, against the Houston Texans defense, and get back to me on that not mattering. Of course it matters. Win the game, but again, the point of Sunday, the point of yesterday is that a lot of that was undone. And that the progress did not continue against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So, Mike,
I'll give you that.
Answering your question, all that you're saying that happened the previous week was undone. Most definitely.
Right. Eric in Nashville up next.
Morning, Eric.
Guys, and also, hey guys, and also too, the game before the bye against the Chargers, we didn't score any offensive touchdowns, but we were competitive. They were still fighting. So, I understand this point, but yeah, you were right. All that stuff was undone. But as far as yesterday, guys, I left the game in the third quarter. It was just so bad. You were talking about the penalties, and what was far worse on that was the officials on some of those took forever to say what the penalty was. That was just so frustrating, guys. And I tell you what, I heard on the game on the post-game show, one of the calls actually called in and said we ought to fire Mike McCoy. That's bad when you hear stuff like that, guys. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like the only excitement that we had after the first drive was at halftime for the Wiener Dog race. That was the only thing that elicited cheers and excitement from the crowd. But, guys, let me say this. Everybody's saying you're going to hear it again. Oh, we should get rid of Cam. When we get the number one draft pick, draft another quarterback. Even this week, with us playing Cleveland and, of course, Shedeur, they're going to say we should have drafted Shedeur. Guys, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Shedeur Sanders is here, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. Throw whatever quarterback you want to here. Do you really think that it's going to be that much better, guys? I mean, it's frustrating, and I'm a frustrated fan, too. I'm a season ticket holder. I've been a season ticket holder for 25 years. I want it to get better, too. You got to get to a point where you have some sort of stability. It's just going to be interesting to see who we bring in this coach and if we're going to give him the leash and the patience that we need to turn this thing around. Guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk again soon.
You too, Eric.
Appreciate it, Eric. Dachshund races were electric, as always.
Stop.
They were. He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all.
I saw them last year. They are pretty cool. Yeah. Dachshund, the hot dog races.
Everybody who was in the building to see that, they were the real wieners. 615-737-1045. Rapid fire Titans calls when we come back. Ramona Will, 1045 The Zone.
It's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation. Will, we've already had an Arctic blast. We've experienced over the holiday weekend where it's colder outside. You're going to have to turn that heat up and try to keep it in. I'm here to tell you, man, if y'all got old windows, that heat that you're using from the HVAC system is getting out of your house, man. Window Nation is one of the best companies, if not the best companies, when it comes down to replacement windows, man. They got usually all the styles that you want. They got 50% off all window styles. You can also get 0 interest financing, Will, for 5 years. They're just good.
They are good, Ramon, and they've got a very good sale going on right now. Window Nation's end-of-year sale gets you 50% off all window styles. You could get 0% interest financing for 5 years. Replace your old or builder-grade windows with custom-built, high-quality windows from Window Nation. And hurry, because this sale ends soon. Head online to windownation.com. Don't wait to put it into your window problems. Schedule a fast, free estimate now at windownation.com. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour one. Tennessee Vandy reaction on deck. In hour number two, it's what many of you came here for. Well, we will deliver on that coming up in 15 minutes. We go back to the phones, though, where Mike is in Nashville talking Titans and Cam Ward. What's up, Mike?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Good. One thing, I guess, because everything you guys are talking about when it comes to a rookie quarterback is true. All the factors, and it's hard to kind of say, is it the team or is it Cam? Or, obviously it's probably a mixture of both. So I try to, get it down to, the things that I think maybe, Cam is, most responsible for, or we can say it's a him thing, like his accuracy, right? And I know, people say, you're not accurate on your back and stuff like that, and stuff like that. So I know there's some factors into it. Mm-hmm. But, just when he does get his moments, when he does roll out, when he does make some good decisions, it's at the best 50-50 if he's going to be accurate. Is he going to throw it at their ankles or shoot it over their head? So, I'm really not getting confident in his accuracy. And I do want to say that, yes, we should give him the year. Yes, he should be the starter going into next year and all that stuff. But I do feel like, I know I'm.
Come on, do it, Mike. I hear it in your voice, Mike. I hear it.
I do feel like I want to quote one of Minor Ramon's favorite rappers, Chad Butler. Here, when I do say study long, study wrong.
Yes, sir.
I do think we are looking at when you look at something long enough and you really want to make it happen and you want to make it work, you're going to think of all these other reasons when it's probably your gut feeling is probably right. So Cam Ward has played 12 games. That is equivalent to a college season, right? So the most I've seen of Cam Ward is about a year and a half. So by the end of this season, I would have seen that's going to erase, I don't want to say all the good, but that's the year and a half of college that he had that he was awesome. That's this season. That's 17 games, right? So I do think we're in a situation where it's a study long, study wrong situation, and I don't know what to do. I went to the game. I'm one of the persons still going to the games. I want to look at Cam Ward and see something in it work and package it up and put a bow on it and all that stuff. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Well, we got a lot of people on the line, so we got to keep moving.
We do. Mike, you won me over with the Chad Butler right there.
Yeah,
ball.
What you do is you keep waiting. That's it. I don't agree that 12 games is a full season. In the NFL, it's 17.
It is.
We get more time to evaluate Cam and figure out what's next. But I can tell you that regardless of what happens over these final 5 games, I think the Titans would be short-sighted. I think they would be dumb to just pull the plug on Cam after one season for any circumstance whatsoever. He needs a legitimate number one wide receiver, and badly. I agree with him on the accuracy part, Ramon, but I don't agree that there's anything we can listen to our gut about yet and act on until next season at the earliest.
I agree. To your point, he's got to be given more time. New staff, new everything they're going to run into this upcoming season. But the questions that Mike brought up were actually very valid.
The accuracy thing is a concern.
When he's running and throwing, you got to have a feel for those types of things. And it seemed like it's not there just yet. I'm not sure if it's the bigger football, the quicker competition, et cetera, et cetera. But I do agree with the idea that, just look at what he's giving you so far. And whoever the next coach is, correct those things first. Pull back on. There's a case study to be had on him from a new coach's perspective, which they're going to have to, that's stating the obvious, but it needs to be brutal and it needs to be very honest with him.
AG in Nashville is next up. Good morning, AG.
Good morning. I feel like my team just been on especially the fans, it seems like we just been on a therapy session or something for the last few years. Everybody just been their frustration and stuff, though. I heard somebody call in one day and say it's a right in our league, but I think about other teams, some teams have been sorry for it seems like decades, though. I just feel like it's unrealistic and just the impatience throughout the fan base. We get mad when Amy Adams get all involved and fire everybody and all this stuff, but we're a reflection of her, though. It seems like with the impatient stuff, though. This man, head coach, got fired within a few games. I can't think of one real veteran on the offense. Tony Pollard, I can't say that about him or Cushenberry and them. And it's just, like I said, it's just amazing to me the expectations of this young man, though. And I'm going to just hang up and let everybody finish venting their frustration.
And we appreciate that.
Thank you, AG. Appreciate the call.
I guess, AG, the point, I guess the frustrations everybody's having is the league kind of plays all that up, give you the number 1 overall pick. You see other teams have those picks also, and there's, signs of it being better. Then it's wild, too, when you look at the comparisons to the other quarterbacks because some of those guys have met expectations. We were talking a little bit about Bryce Young. It's been 3 years, but it looked like he's got a little bit something there. But then you also look at Bo Nix, look at Jackson Dart. You look at Jaden Daniels in the last couple of years.
Flashes
right,
of
more
that. Flashes.
To be fair, AG, also to the conversation is they had, I would say, more flashes. Cam's had big flashes too. The consistency of their ability to make plays and say, yeah, this thing gonna turn around. J.J. McCarthy, right? In New England.
He's been the worst quarterback of the NFL this year.
I know, but
awful.
Not J.J. McCarthy. Drake May. My bad. Yeah, not J.J. McCarthy. Right. Drake May situation. Top 5 pick. You say to yourself, I want one of those. You got one.
Your goal is for Cam Ward to be Drake May.
Yeah, my bad on the J.J.
A lot of
McCarthy.
comparisons. Ooh. Yeah, he's in his own.
Yeah, that's on me.
He is in his own world.
That's on me right there.
But no, your point's valid. You want more flashes like you saw the last 2 weeks. And I don't care when they happened or if the score was all that separated. Because again, even in the first and second quarters of the Texans and Seahawks games, we saw processing speed. We saw the ball coming out quickly. These weren't necessarily touchdown drives, but we've got to set realistic expectations and call progress when we see it. There was no progress yesterday.
It was a pull back yesterday.
There were only steps back yesterday. Zach in Mount Juliet gets the final Titans call of the opening hour. Good morning, Zach.
Morning, Zach.
Morning, fellas. I basically just wanted to say, I think if, any other job you're in, if you're new to the role, whatever, you're going to have somebody kind of there, mentoring you. I kind of think, as far as Cam, he's got, Will Levis in the quarterback room and Brandon Allen, but nobody really, you need, a solid, backup, someone who's been around the league, who's, actually been able to win games, who's, contributed to the team. So I think as far as, blaming him for being put in a bad situation, I think the only way, not the only way, but I think a good start would be go out and target a solid backup veteran guy who can come in and kind of just mentor him. I don't know, people that come to my mind would be a Gardner Minshew or maybe Jacoby Brissett has been balling out for sure. So somebody that could just come in and kind of mentor him and kind of point him in the right direction, especially with all the media. Just a little mentor.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate the call. It's on the list.
It's on the list.
I don't think it's the most important thing for Cam, but yeah, I think that getting a backup that's been a legitimate starter, who started games, who can be a resource. However many resources and voices you can get to help Cam Ward this offseason, bring them all.
But the issue is, you want a non-threatening guy.
You do.
And that's why Brandon Allen was brought in as a backup.
Yeah, you want the kind of backup that, A, is not going to win you too many games if a backup's got to go in for an entire season. That way you can protect your draft pick.
Or if your starter's bad, you're not asking for that backup respectfully.
Someone that's not having the fans in Section 327 yelling that they want to see X, Y, or Z backup.
Jacoby Brissett.
615-737-1045. Our reaction to Vanderbilt's win in Neyland Stadium over the weekend is next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, man. Nobody likes dealing with the plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency at all. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost you, if it'll get fixed correctly, or if it's just somebody trying to sell you something you do not need. Y'all know how it goes, man. It's folks that are coming to your house. You might not have the same knowledge as they do, and they'll just say, yeah, this is also messed up too. No. That's not Hiller at all. When you call Hiller, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly. And the cool part is the price you're told is the price that that you'll actually pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. I also use Hiller, man, and I promise you, everything that they've done in my house is itemized. They show me the costs, they show me the service fees, and we're done, clean, done, over with. They've been in business for over 35 years, and they are family owned and operated. They're techs that come to your house. They're very professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And you'll receive a photo of the tech when they're on the way and a link to track them in real time, so you're not sitting around wasting time. The motto is happy you'll be or the service is free. If you're not satisfied with the service they provide you or something's wrong, they will fix it or either just simply say, here's your money back. To learn more about Hiller, to book with them like I do, simply visit their website at happyhiller.com.
7:02, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans offense stalled out yesterday as they fall to the Jaguars 25-3 at home in Nissan Stadium. The Titans gained just 188 total yards of offense and gained only 11 first downs. Cam Ward threw for 141 yards, and Tony Pollard led the team in rushing with 60 yards. The Titans fall to 111 on the season. For Jacksonville, with their win yesterday, they're now tied with Indianapolis for first place in the AFC South at 8-4. Indianapolis lost to Houston yesterday, 20-16. In college football on Saturday, Vanderbilt outscored Tennessee 31-3 in the final minutes of the first half and beyond for the rest of the game to go on to win 45-24. Diego Pavia threw for 268 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and also rushed for 165 yards and a touchdown. Also, a lot of twists and turns in the college football coaching carousel, so try to keep up. After beating Mississippi State Friday night, Lane Kiffin declared yesterday that he will now coach LSU and will not coach Ole Miss in the playoffs, per AD Keith Carter. The Rebels shortly after hired defensive coordinator Pete Golding as their next permanent head coach, and he will be the coach of Ole Miss in the playoffs moving forward. Auburn hired former USF's Alex Golis, replacing Hugh Freeze. Florida hired Tulane head coach John Summerall to replace Billy Napier. Former Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald returns to the Big Ten as Michigan State's head coach after they fired Jonathan Smith yesterday. Arkansas replaces Sam Pittman with Memphis's head coach Ryan Silverfield, and yesterday, Kentucky fired head coach Mark Stoops after 13 seasons. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 of Ramon and Will starts now on 104.5 The Zone and streaming live, Zone TV, 104.5 The Zone app. At 10 a.m., wherever you download podcasts, you get Ramon and Will. Wherever you are listening, watching, subscribing, we invite you to like the channel wherever you are. 104.5 The Zone TV means you stream us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Vanderbilt 45, Tennessee 24. A dominant second half for the Doors means that Clark Lee's Vanderbilt Commodores have 10 wins in a season for the first time in program history. Diego Pavia likely punches his ticket to New York for the Heisman ceremony, and the Vols finished the year where many thought they would be at the beginning of the season, but in a different way than how we expected them to get there. 8-4 at the end of 2025. Ramon, it was clear the better team won in Neyland Stadium on Saturday afternoon. I want to start from the Vanderbilt perspective because they earned it by the way that they played. I know more of our audience will care about the Tennessee perspective, and we will give plenty of that in both the short and long term this morning. But Vandy on the field earned the chance to get talked about first. What went right for Vanderbilt? What surprised you? What was your reaction to really a second half dominant display we saw from Vanderbilt on Saturday?
What went right? Everything. Their change of possession turnovers, how they adjusted to that was awesome. I thought the double score that they had at the end of the first quarter, end of the first half, going into the second half, to be able to book in both halves, I thought was good. Diego's style and play, they slow walked it and then they cranked it up later in the game. It was comical watching them try to give the football to others, and then they said, "Oh, there's Diego."
Every pass that they had on early downs was a waste of time.
Yes, it was.
Total waste of time.
It was what went right for them, and what surprised me was this. Not that it was surprising because Clark Lee's a defensive savant, but you saw them come out in a different set that I don't think you've seen much at all defensively. They put 8 guys in a box, and they dared you to figure out what they were going to do.
They ran a look that a lot of teams only run on third downs.
Yeah.
And they ran it on every single down.
The 8 in the box side of that game, to me, when I saw it in the first series, the Vols versus them, and I saw there wasn't much of an answer, I knew then. I knew then. The interceptions that Diego Pavia threw, hell of a plays made by Colton and also by
it was Ty Redmond and Idris Farouk.
And Idris
who had
Farouk.
the two interceptions.
The two interceptions. Hell of a plays by them. Because those were good balls. They made better plays on the football. But when you saw the Vols not be able to figure out, are they blitzing? Are they not? And that offense is set up from Tennessee's perspective to take advantage of spacing. They were able to hold at the line of scrimmage and bail out late. And you didn't know who was going and who was coming on those plays. And when you had that situation right there, it was hell to pay. And Clark Lee toyed with them. He did. He blitzed them however he wanted to. Vanderbilt was disciplined in how they hit their gaps. The way, I'll even say it like this, the way he dismantled the game plan and trying to figure out what could work for your offense was a masterclass. I got to give it to Clark Lee on that one. And more so than this, and it could be said, yeah, well, they got an older team, and they know how to they know how to execute those types of plays and that type of scheme. So what?
Yeah,
you got the same opportunities.
100%.
You got the same opportunities,
100%.
and that was to me a display of discipline, physicality, and aggression. That kind of made Tennessee go in the corner and kind of take it.
Tennessee was averaging 42.3 points, 491 yards of total offense coming in. Vanderbilt had really only seen one good passing offense in the SEC this year. Of Vanderbilt's SEC schedule, coming into Knoxville, only two top half of the SEC passing offenses were on it. I was really curious, is Vanderbilt okay defensively, or have they just not really played any dynamic offenses? Well, in this game, they were great defensively.
Yeah.
I thought Clark Lee had a perfect game plan. I thought they took a risk in loading the box more and run blitzing that Tennessee wasn't going to just chuck it over their heads and win one-on-ones. They took the gamble that being overly physical in the defensive backfield and just giving up pass interference calls was going to be worth it. And honestly, in a lot of ways, Ramon, it mirrored what Georgia has done to Tennessee a lot. In that Georgia will just take the penalties because penalties are better than 50 or 60-yard completions. The only big pass play that Tennessee really hit in this game is because Vandy had a cornerback looking at the sideline when the ball was snapped.
Yeah, he wasn't ready.
Just wasn't ready at all. The way the first half of this game went, a couple of huge Vandy mistakes made a dominant performance look a lot closer than it really was. Vanderbilt dominated this football game on Saturday. And if it wasn't for two Pavia turnovers and a corner just looking at the sideline when the ball was snapped, I think this would have been a blowout in the first half. So,
to your point, to have two turnovers and still be tied at half.
I said that going into halftime.
That was the writing right there.
The fact that this game was tied was a very bad sign for Tennessee at halftime. And it meant that Tennessee was either going to have to adjust in a massive way and do something in the second half they hadn't done in the first, or they were going to have to continue turning Pavia over at the same rate they did in the first half.
And when
neither of those things happened.
And when he started putting the football on the ground and running with his legs and you couldn't stop it, it was a wrap at that point.
It was all over.
Just to compare one to another real quick, though, and I'm not saying one is a bona fide number one overall draft pick and the other one ain't, but to bring back the conversation I think Mike called in with too, Diego Pavia running and throwing the football on the fly is elite.
Really good at improv.
He's really good at improv. Putting that left foot in the ground and throwing that football with his right hand.
No doubt.
That's something I will say you kind of want to see from Cam Ward to blend two worlds real quick.
Sure.
Moving forward with the accuracy.
A lot harder to do against NFL defenses.
That's very true, too.
Yes. Because Pavia's not going to be able to do that again in the NFL either. Diego Pavia's not an NFL quarterback. But to your point, 100%. 18 of 28, 268, a touchdown and two picks. Pavia rushed 20 times for 165 and a touchdown, overcoming the two first-half interceptions at a 21-14 deficit. Cedric Alexander ran 115 yards for 3 touchdowns on 10 carries. Vandy held the Vols to a season-low 5.1 yards per play. They registered 4 sacks against Tennessee, forcing 4 punts as well. The Vols were just a team that beat itself all season. And in this game, Vanderbilt also beat you.
Yeah, they piled it on.
You helped them. But an offensive pass interference call up 21-14, when you've got a chance to win the middle 8, Mike Matthews gets a pass interference call that pushes you back to second down in Alcoa. All of a sudden, you're behind the sticks and you have to punt it back away. Then Vandy gets into plus territory, scores a touchdown at the end of a half after a roughing the passer call extends their drive, which, for the record, I thought was the right call. You can't put the referee in the position to make that call. David Smith is a terrible referee, and I don't ever want to see a former Alabama quarterback do a Tennessee game ever again in my life. That was the right call, though.
It was the right call because I'll add this to it, too. You got to be smart in those situations, too, as a player. I'm huge on, look, you know the ball is going to pull up, or put your hands up in a situation like that to where you don't make contact with a quarterback, especially when he's throwing the football like that, and you're not going to get there. One thing I thought the Vols defensive line did do good was early on in the game, they put their hands up and batted a couple of those footballs down that fell to the ground. I'm thinking to myself, that's smart. I'm a huge advocate of smart football players, and I mean any team. If I see you making a good play, that's good. That's smart. You pulled up on the sideline, amazing. And I don't think we had that understanding going into it, closing out the half, or you could have at least gone into the halftime up instead of tied at that point in time.
Would have made a big difference.
Maybe.
At that moment, in the way you went into the locker room, I don't think it would have. Even if you don't get that roughing call, let's say they don't get it. I mean, this game was going to be a blowout for Vanderbilt either way, with the way that they were playing and then their ability to take care of the football in the second half. David Smith's crew is awful. It is hard to watch a football game when David Smith's officiating crew is in charge in the SEC. It really, really difficult.
I saw punches being thrown on both sides and nothing was called.
He's clueless. He's clueless. We got it. The only way you really get change is by calling these people out for what they are. Clueless.
Yeah.
And they missed calls both ways. It's not a Tennessee complaint. They missed a horse collar on the long third down against Tyree West on Pavia that should have been called and extend that drive. They missed a big pass interference on the second play of the football game on Vandy. It was in both ways. We got to have higher standards for what officiating looks like in the SEC. Anyway, that not the main story of the game, but at least worth mentioning. I didn't think anything was really shocking about the way Tennessee's defense played in this game. Tennessee's defense kind of is what it is. I thought maybe the third linebacker set that they ran against Florida would help. But ultimately, if you'd given me this stat line and given me this point total for Vandy on offense, wouldn't have been shocked.
No.
What shocks me is Tennessee's inability to create explosive pass plays against a bad Vanderbilt secondary. That's the shock in this. One of the worst pass defenses in the SEC. I know Vandy had gotten healthy up front. I know that defensive line played a lot better, and they made things really easy on a lot of those defensive backs. That, to me, is the disappointment. I thought Tennessee abandoned the deep passing game way too quickly, and I thought what got them to the playoff discussion in October was the ability to throw it up to Chris Brazzell and let him make plays. Yeah. The ability to get Braylon Staley open against safeties. The ability to get him running downfield with the football in his hand. The ability for Mike Matthews on the crossing routes to get open. I thought Ethan Davis showed some dynamic offensive playmaking in the week before against Florida. None of that because you couldn't protect your quarterback and you could not figure out who was blitzing and when.
The most bothersome part is that last statement you said. As an offensive staff that use spacing, that use tempo, that use teams' aggressiveness against themselves, you didn't have an answer for that. I've said it earlier this year about Josh Heupel and his offense, his staff. I've said it throughout the middle of the season, and I'm going to say it right now. There has to be a deep dive self-evaluation of what you're running with this offense when it comes down to these moments. If this is your biggest advantage is having space, then you should be able to find answers when it comes down to a team that's got 8 in the box and are blitzing the hell out of you.
So I want to talk more about that. What could Tennessee have done? What adjustments does Tennessee have to make? Plus, how much of a case does Vandy have to get into the college football playoff? They had one big thing not go their way over the weekend that we'll talk about coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. How is your home's heating performing? Even though the temperatures outside are dropping, Lee Company is here for you 24/7. Lee Company's professional team of technicians are now performing heating tune-ups and seasonal maintenance to keep your home running efficiently this fall and winter. You got to contact Lee Company's award-winning team online at leecompany.com to keep your home cozy for the cold months ahead. That's leecompany.com for all your heating needs. Might have happened as you were about to go to sleep. Maybe you woke up this morning and you realized there is way more cold air in this house than I want. Well, trust me, Lee Company, this is the team that you want on your side. With 80-plus years of experience, the open 24/7 hours, over 1,800 employees, 1,100-plus vehicles in their fleet. When you call Lee Company, they're out there quickly to help you. 615-567-1000 or online at leecompany.com for all your heating needs. That's Lee Company, all you need.
Genesis Diamonds really shines this time of the year. The cases are jam-packed with all the best gifts, highest quality, at the guaranteed best value prices. I'm talking about engagement rings, diamond bracelets, eternity bands, earrings, pendants, colored gemstone, jewelry, Rolex watches. And listen, this December at Genesis, you can get the holiday jewelry she wants for $0 down and no interest for 5 years. So you can go big without going broke. Pick any item, spread your payments over 5 years, 0 interest. That's $6,000 ring is just $100 a month. Do the math. Everything is affordable. Genesis non-commission experts are ready to help you find the headliner gift from a few $100s to a few $100,000 if you want to. Elegant pendants, dazzling eternity bands, stylish wedding bands, and an incredible selection of diamond classic jewelry. 0 down, 0 interest again for 5 years. And yes, hundreds of pristine pre-owned Rolex watches, all the most popular models. And if you love a deal, here's something all new for 2025. The Genesis Diamonds half-price holiday vault. A select group of showcases featuring expertly curated Christmas gifts that Genesis is offering at half price. 50% savings, the biggest discount ever. You need to check this out. Genesis Diamonds, the place for that spectacular holiday gift. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone continues in hour 2. Streaming live at 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, where the F&M Bank chat is open for your comments. And if you're streaming us live on YouTube, we invite you to hit the subscribe and like buttons while you are there as well. So Vanderbilt's defense, to Ramon's point before the break, had 8 in the box a lot on Saturday afternoon against Tennessee. It worked. Season low yards per play for the Vols. Tennessee had -6 rushing in the second half. Deshaun Bishop averaged 6.6 yards per carry in the first half. In the second half, 5 yards on 6 carries. Joey Aguilar was sacked twice in each half. And a lot of times, Ramon, as Tennessee was pulling guards or pulling linemen, they were getting beaten to their spots.
Yeah, they were.
By Vanderbilt linebackers and Vanderbilt defensive linemen. What should or could Tennessee have done to adjust to that game plan for Vanderbilt?
This to me is where I'm going to sound like an old guy saying this, and I know we'll probably never go back to this thing in college, but this is where voice cadence matters. Hard counts. The fake clapping, nobody believes that, right? Like, like you're going to see the ones that are going to drop. That ain't the best answer, but that is something to at least allow yourself to get to a point to say, okay, he's dropping, that guy's dropping, et cetera, et cetera. Knowing where and how to get the ball out is another answer to it. At some point, somebody's going to bail. If they send too many, have somebody to where the ball's coming out quick. I was looking for more screens. I was looking for more lateral passes to try to take advantage of them, knowing that somebody's got a bail deep and probably going to go to the zone that you're going to have them. A traditional set would have done more for the Vols in that situation instead of the spread out offense part of it to me. If you say to the coaching staff, middle screen, you know they're blitzing. You know they're getting upfield. You know they're over-aggressive. I didn't see at any point in time throughout the duration of that game where the Vols took advantage of that aggressiveness. You just didn't see it. Like you saw it where I think it was Deshaun Bishop broke a couple tackles. Vanderbilt's linebackers were out of their gaps, and he found that opening seam right there for the big run. That was unique. That was cool. But again, that happens because Vanderbilt messed up, right? And I got to give Deshaun Bishop on that one. But the conversation is you throw into the blitz. If they're blitzing from the left, where's the left side? Instead, you just got Chris Brazzell over there by himself. There is no outlet that you can throw to at least a wheel route or have a tight end. Like, that's hot route. Why are you calling it hot route? Well, because you're hot. I know you're hot. Look at me. Throw it to me. There was nothing I thought consistently except for like late in the first quarter, going into the second quarter, where you saw Vanderbilt honestly kind of back up a little bit. That's because you had some success. There was no point in that game consistently where you made Vandy say, okay, we need to back up before we overexpose ourselves.
Right.
There was none of that. And I do think there needs to be a non-traditional, traditional offense that Heupel has. That offense, in my personal opinion, has to go hybrid at some point. You're not going to continue, you're not going to holistically run a West Coast style offense, but you got to have some power. You got to have some traditional sets, bring in closer. Because in those moments when you got guys that are spread that wide, throwing the football from the college left hash all the way to the right sideline is a lot of airtime and a lot of time for elite SEC athletes to close in on the football. That, to me, is where that offense has to have a different set of eyes on it because of that situation right there. Sure. Because of how Alabama played you when you lined up wide. Because of how Georgia plays you in those moments. Because of how Ohio State did it. Those are, in my personal opinion, 4 elite defenses that you've seen. And at some point in time, you got to say to yourself, we got to correct this because here's the other issue that you're going to run into. And that was a fake rumor about Heupel and stuff like that. You know, Penn State yesterday. It was it was that.
Appears to be nothing to that.
But what I will say is this. He's got a lot of great just emotional money in the personal banks of people right now. Vol Nation Coach Heupel does. Looking at that SEC schedule next year, if the step as far as recruiting doesn't show or the step as far as team mentality doesn't grow, that conversation gets loud. And it's because of what I mean the conversation getting loud is you start throwing darts because people want quick answers and they want to be competitive.
Sure.
And they want to see the old problems die. Right now, the old problems for that offense hadn't died, and Vanderbilt displayed that again on Saturday night when your offense, which is supposed to be fun, fast, and furious, netted nothing.
Yeah.
In big games. Now, I can go down the whole route, Will, and say, well, this isn't the season. This is what the season we're supposed to have. That's all true. But in rival games and in big games, especially on prime time, and especially losing 3 games inside of Neyland, them tickets are high. That department over there is charging more and more money. You're not paying to watch a team that you love lose inside of a stadium.
Yeah, this season was always viewed as 8-4 is acceptable.
It was.
But the way you won those 8 games and lost the 4 that you did is not what we expected when we originally said that. I want to spend more time on that in the third hour.
Gotcha.
And look more long-term on Tennessee and what didn't work and have the postmortem and talk about Tim Banks because I'm changing my opinion on the defensive coaching staff. But I want to spend more time on Vanderbilt right now because, again, I think they earned it, and I think they earned the ability to see this game from their perspective this morning as much as it is from Tennessee's perspective. I want to talk about their playoff chances after we get to the phones. Let's go to Johnny Ray first on Vandy in Tennessee. What's up, Johnny Ray?
Morning, Johnny Ray.
Hey, good morning, Will. Good morning, Ramon. How y'all fellas doing?
We're good. How are you?
I think you know how we doing.
Oh, man, it feels great waking up in this cozy cabin in the Smoky Mountains as a Vanderbilt Commodore fan, knowing that we put belt to you-know-what in Neyland Stadium. I just want to give a real quick shout-out to you guys for running a great radio show. I've been listening to these Knoxville radio shows since I've been up here over the weekend. Man, Troy Fleming, all these guys talking mad smack about Vanderbilt, how Tennessee was going to just mop the floor, how they were going to just beat and bang on Diego Pavia, how he don't even deserve to be in the conversation about the Heisman. And then he goes in there and shows out. You guys run a very even kill radio show. It's completely one-sided up here. Now, from the time we got to the game until we left, boy, them guys on the radio was singing a different tune. Oh, we always knew this was going to happen. We expected to lose against Vanderbilt. I just want to say thank you guys for being even kill and always looking at both sides of the spectrum.
Thank you, Johnny.
Appreciate you, Johnny Ray.
We will always.
I hope your fire is warm and you got plenty of wood up there to burn, man, because of those compliments.
Kenny the mailman is up next in Nashville. Good morning, Kenny.
Hello, good friends. Fighting sinuses, but I still enjoy talking to y'all.
Appreciate it.
2 quick comments. One, here's a slap in the face of Tennessee and Vandy. 2 top 20 teams playing in Neyland, one of the hardest places in the world to play. Vandy wins convincingly, and the AP drops them a spot.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I've never
AP
heard
voters are
like that in my life.
It's insane. It's insane.
If you looked at different colored helmets, that would have never happened, or there would have been a war declared.
That's true.
But that being
That's
at
true.
that, there are 0 playoff chances for Vanderbilt, and here's why. Have y'all ever been to an archery contest?
I've
where
not.
They put up, the targets, the blue, the red, and the yellow little targets you hit?
I've watched it on TV, though.
All right. Well, what the committee's done, they put blank targets down there. Shoot an arrow into the blank target, run down there, draw a little circle, and yell, bullseye! They're going to put in who they want. They ought to call it the College Invitational Playoff and be honest. And they had their arms twisted, and they made them put 1 or 2 people in they don't want, but the rest of them, we need eyeballs for TV. So it is what it is. It's been a great season. I'm going to enjoy, wherever bowl game Vandy goes. But unless someone just goes undefeated, they're not going to let a smaller team in. Hey, y'all have a great day.
Kenny, that's
Thank you, Kenny.
awesome right there, man. That's great archery.
I agree.
Yeah, that sucks.
I agree. Vanderbilt,
That sucks.
I would be shocked if Vandy is in the college football playoff.
Unless the crowd gets loud.
It doesn't matter. Everybody's got a loud crowd.
Man.
It does not matter what Vanderbilt fans do about it. They're still small and mighty compared to everyone else. I mean, compared to the Notre Dame fan base, compared to again, fan base should have nothing to do with it. And I don't think it's one of the top factors within all of this. So at this point, the locks to make the college football playoff are the following teams: Ohio State and Indiana, Alabama and Georgia. Ole Miss, which we'll talk about, who now has a new head coach, permanent head coach. Oregon is in. A&M is in. That's 7 teams right there. I think Oklahoma's in.
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame inexplicably is a lock based on the way this committee has ranked them, which Notre Dame is the one I don't understand. Texas Tech, definitely in, even if they lose the Big 12 championship game. That's 10 teams. The G5 team is a lock. Well, yeah, G5 team is a lock. The ACC championship winner is not a lock to make the playoff. And BYU, if they win the Big 12 championship, also on the bubble. I think if BYU loses, they're out because there's not enough spots. It looks like it's going to be the top 10 teams in the country make it. And then 2 teams that are outside the top 12. The G5 winner, which is either going to be North Texas or James Madison, or you're going to have 2 of those teams plus the ACC winner being on the outside look again. Because if 7-5 Duke wins the ACC championship, I don't think they are a lock for the college football playoff in any way. So that leaves BYU. That leaves Utah, Texas, Miami, and Vanderbilt, all grouped together on the outside looking in. I'm going to be totally honest with you, Ramon. I think Texas has a better case than Vandy.
Sarkisian already dropped it.
I think Miami has a better case than Vandy.
Yo.
I don't think Utah has as good a one as what the committee thinks. Utah with 2 losses, 15th in strength of record, 57th in strength of schedule, their best win being 45-14 against Cincinnati. The problem now with Vanderbilt is that after the playoff rankings come out, Ramon, I don't think Tennessee is going to be ranked. And that is 0 wins for Vanderbilt against the current top 25. They got pretty unlucky, Vandy did, in who the teams on their schedule ended up being.
Oh.
Virginia Tech was supposed to be a better P4 out of conference. Terrible. Fired coach. South Carolina on the road was supposed to be a big road test early in the season against a top 15 team. 4-8, right?
No.
Not a good team. Not a good season. Missouri was supposed to be a big test coming to town. What happens? Bo Prabula gets hurt. You get Matt Zollers for the final quarter and a half. Again, you got to play who's out there. You knocked him out of the game, but
Not
still.
your fault.
And then LSU. Again, supposed to come to town, playoff expectations, $20 million+ roster.
First round quarterback.
Garrett Nussmeier.
Yep.
Well, he ends up playing hurt. They have no offense. That Blake Baker defense can't do enough. They fire their coach. And then you look at Tennessee. Tennessee does not have a ranked win this year. Tennessee had 5 combined wins among their SEC opponents. 5 in SEC play on the SEC teams that Tennessee beat this season. Tennessee turned out to be fool's gold for a lot of the season.
Oh.
That win looks a little bit different now as the dust settles on the college football playoff campaign. Vandy does not have the resume to get in, and they don't have the brand to get in. That's tough.
It is. It's tough. It's very tough, man. This is where, as a program, Clark Lee, I think, one, needs to get loud just for the hell of it, just to be completely honest with you. Bring more eyes to the conversation as to the why the disrespect is happening also. And sometimes this type of stuff has to happen. Nick Saban has done this in years past. We're watching Steve Sarkisian do it right now at Texas. Others have stood on the table for their teams in these types of moments right here and said, we deserve. I do agree. Vanderbilt's put together a great resume. And I do think given the opportunity, they will compete well in the college football playoffs too. They have everything
Nobody'd
that you need.
want to play them, right?
Exactly. They have everything you need, but to your point about the optics of it and who they choose to, as who was the Kenny the Mailman said, it's the college invitational almost at this point. And until you start banging on the table to say, look at us, I don't think that happens unless somebody is inside of that room saying, hey, this deserves, because it's the same conversation I feel like that Nick Saban said on College Game Day that day when he disrespected Vanderbilt by saying, they got to go prove it to me that they are who they say they are.
Yep.
That's the issue. And then their losses this year have been to teams, Alabama, big brand, and to Texas, big brand.
Right.
The best year that you've had, it sucks because, to your point, the teams that you beat,
you
didn't hold up their end.
Right. Yeah, and you're going to probably head to the Citrus Bowl at the end of it.
And so I look at the Vols situation last year, 10-2.
Yep. They got help.
Beat Bama.
Ole Miss lost in Gainesville.
Florida.
Alabama lost in Norman. Tennessee got help. Again, we tried to tell you guys this for a month. You can go 10-2 and not make it. You still needed help. You didn't get help. And you didn't help yourself enough when it mattered as well against Alabama and Texas. An Alabama game, again, that I said it at the time. If you followed me on Twitter or saw it, you knew it. You belonged on the field against Alabama.
Absolutely.
Pavia turned it over. It was that simple. Bill Connolly put out at ESPN.com his projected top 15 of the college football playoff. Teams 8 through 15. He has got Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9. Again, I just don't understand the Notre Dame thing. I really don't.
National will.
I really don't.
National is all you can say.
2 really good losses, no great wins. USC is a good team. They beat USC. That's about it. I beat Pitt handily. I mean, so did Miami. Alabama 10. Bill's got BYU 11. I'm fine with that.
11-1.
One loss against Texas Tech. I think that's about right. He's got Miami 12. I agree with that. He's got Vanderbilt 13, Utah 14, Texas 15. I will not be shocked at all if Texas is ranked ahead of Vandy. Will not be shocked at all. Because if Texas had not gone to Columbus and challenged themselves against Ohio State, they'd be in. They'd be in. Now, also, if they hadn't lost to Florida, they'd still be in too. But again, you're fighting a brand. You are fighting what I think athletic directors and coaches are trying to fight for, in that you need to make me care about scheduling good non-conference teams.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, we just won't do it. Like, it is in the best interest of the sport for Texas, Ohio State to be a positive for college football versus be a negative. So are you going to punish the team that scheduled Ohio State? Or are you going to punish the small brand that's never been relevant that scheduled Virginia Tech? Unfortunately, I think it would not be surprising at all if you end up punishing the team that scheduled Virginia Tech, who doesn't have that kind of brand equity. Now, Vandy may still be ranked ahead of Texas, but this is just one of the many uphill battles that you are going up against. The thing I feel confident in is that Vandy should and will jump Utah. Yeah. But Miami, with their best win being over Notre Dame, BYU only having the 1 loss, and Texas having 3 top 10 wins, 3 top 10 wins, including against A&M over the weekend, you're fighting an uphill battle. And for all of you tweeting at me, you're going to wear the Vandy jersey on the show? Nope, because you're not a playoff team. 615-737-1045. Tons of phone calls. We go rapid fire to your reaction next.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay though.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
Work. It's what we do. Part of who we are. There is joy in work. And no matter what size your business is, the dedicated commercial team at Two Rivers Ford will find the work trucks and vans that keep your business moving. And Two Rivers is the only dealer that offers a 90-day free fleet management program that can help you save money on every single mile. The Commercial Vehicle Center at Two Rivers Ford. We work for you.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the first half of the show in the F&M Bank chat. You can hop in the 104.5 The Zone YouTube channel. We had a commenter say, bring back the BCS. I found the BCS rankings.
I was going to say, I feel like you got an answer on
Those
that.
are posted every week.
Are they? Where? You don't pass this information to me.
I'm doing it right now.
All right. Well,
Guy puts them on Reddit every week. BCS rankings. Vandy would still be out of the college football playoff.
How do they kind of have a setup? Much change?
There is a big drop-off from BYU to Vanderbilt, according to the computers. 11-1, the one loss being at Texas Tech, who, by the way, there's some Texas Tech slander in the F&M Big Chat as well. If y'all haven't watched Texas Tech,
stop.
Anybody who's watched them play football is not doubting how good of a team that is and the fact that that is a team that can make a Final Four run this season in the college football playoff.
They're out in West Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Lubbock.
Hey, listen to me, y'all. I don't know if y'all been keeping up with recruiting because, it's NFL city and stuff.
Right.
If they're doing that with this group that they have right now, Look how many 5 stars they got.
Oh, yeah.
Look how many quality 4 stars.
Oil money is working.
Texas Tech, I'm telling y'all, prepare yourselves for the conversation. Screw the Big 12 that they're in.
Right. No, Big 12 that's been pretty solid this year, to be fair.
Prepare yourself for Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Is all I will say about the college football in the next couple of years.
100%.
Yeah.
BCS has Vanderbilt ranked 12th. So 8 through 15 in the BCS rankings, if the BCS was still a thing, obviously. Oklahoma would be 8. Notre Dame would be 9. Bama would be 10, and the last team in. BYU 11, Vandy 12, Miami 13, Texas 14. The computer rankings, again, to my last point about Texas, have Vandy and Texas tied at 12th.
Really? With 3 losses versus 2?
Exactly. Let's go to the phones, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
John is in Nashville. What's up, John?
Morning, John.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Moan, it's tough to be a Tennessee Vol, man. I'm telling you something.
No, it ain't John. John, think about 2013, 14, 15, 16. Think about Dooley, man. Think about Butch Jones. Think about Lane leaving you, John.
You can always be Auburn.
If 8-4 is bad on a down year, John, sign me up, okay? But I'm gonna listen to your comments still, man, because I love you and you'll evolve.
No, hey, I'm a VFL, but what I'll say is, and that's exactly what I was going to say, Mo, and it kind of seems like we're in kind of like an abusive relationship or something where we can't kind of criticize some kind of curious play calling, some things like that without, because you got one side of the fan base that just says, every single time we lose, fire Tim Banks, fire Josh Heupel, it's not the call.
Right.
But we also feel like we can't say, hey, why do other teams seem to make adjustments and we don't sometimes? So I just I'll hang up and listen to y'all's thoughts because I think it's like an abusive relationship sometimes where we're afraid to question because of the 2013s, but at the same time we got to ask some fair questions. But appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, John.
Thank you, John.
We're going to get a little bit more of that, right?
We're going to do more of that in a half hour because I think there are big questions that have got to be asked moving forward to the 26th.
It does.
I think you can ask those questions while still admitting that Josh Heupel's seat is not hot today on December 1st, 2025.
I agree.
There are adjustments that need to be made, but there is no fire Josh Heupel commentary that needs to be heard today.
John, stick around. We're going to have that conversation, ask those questions. You can call back with a comment if you want to after the fact.
Vandy Chris in Columbia next up. Good morning, Vandy Chris.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning, gentlemen. And before I get started on this college football playoff stuff, let me send some flowers to you guys. I did it on X yesterday. You guys deserve massive credit. The entire radio station deserves credit. You have been more than fair to Vanderbilt all year long.
Thank you, Chris.
I appreciate that out of you guys.
Appreciate that, Chris.
So, on this college football playoffs, me as a Vanderbilt fan, I'm fine if we're sitting at 10 or 11 this week. Here's my complaint. Miami. You have the 4th place team in the ACC listed ahead of the 1st place team in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
That's criminal. Mm-hmm. If we're going to list the SEC teams in order, 1 through 6, Vanderbilt being 6, we have to list the ACC the same metric. You cannot put that Miami team as the 4th place team in the ACC ahead of the 1st place team. And if you compare common opponents, let's look at Virginia Tech, right? Yeah, we went in. They didn't turn out to be very good. We annihilated them boys. Mm-hmm. We kneeled it down at the 5-yard line with under a minute left to keep from scoring again. That was a 10-point game when Miami went in there 2 weeks ago, and they threw it into the end zone with 2 minutes left to make that score look different. We beat Virginia Tech worse than they did. You have to compare that stuff. I don't think anybody that's watched Utah the past 2 weeks can say that Utah belongs in front of Vanderbilt. If you make it right and you put Vanderbilt at 10 or 11, I'm okay with BYU being ahead of us with 1 loss. But if we're sitting at 10 or 11, we have an opportunity because you don't know what they're going to do with Alabama. If they were to lose at SEC, I don't think they should be punished. But this is Hunter Yurachek's committee, and based on what Hunter Yurachek just did yesterday at Arkansas, hiring Ryan Silverfield, who inherited a Memphis program that was in a New Year's Six bowl game when he took over.
Yeah.
I have no confidence in what Hunter Yurachek and this committee is going to do. I'll hang up and let you guys talk. Appreciate you letting me have my spot.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Made some great points.
The thing I'll say about Hunter Yurachek is he is seen as the leader of those conversations. He's just really the spokesperson.
He's a spokes.
Hunter Yurachek is not really the one that is making the final decision. Like, it's not like he has the tie-breaking vote, the way I understand it. He's just the one that takes the opinion in the room and voices that to the public. So I wouldn't be as concerned about the Hunter Yurachek part of it. You have a BYU problem, is what you have. Miami, yeah, I mean, the Miami comparison's tough because Miami's best win is a lot better than Vanderbilt's best win. That's the problem with Miami.
And that's Notre Dame?
Yeah, it is. It is in Notre Dame. Now, their worst loss, also worse than Vanderbilt's. There's no doubt about that. But it's not just comparing the common opponents that you played, Chris. It's the problem with that Miami's best win is Notre Dame and your best win is Tennessee.
Here's where, because I believe she's good at her job, really good at her. This is where Candace Story-Lee tries to get on the committee at some point.
The tweeting has begun, as it should. It is like a war of PR at this point.
I'm not sure if that's the win, but like at some point, representation, to your point, has to be had.
Well, I see what you mean. Getting on the committee,
getting
meaning
on the committee,
being a member of it.
being
You've
a
got to
member,
recuse yourself when your team's being discussed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Never
granted,
mind.
when you're going to lunch,
do you really?
When you're off, you really think these people aren't advocating for their team? We don't need any sitting ADs on this committee. By the
that
way.
part I will agree with.
Especially not ADs who are trying to hire a coach. Hunter Yurachek has no business being the head of a committee as he is trying to hire a mid-football coach the way that he did. With all due respect to Ryan Silverfield, Arkansas admitted they're not serious about winning football games by making that hire compared to some of the other hires that happened in the SEC yesterday. No, it's not wrong with me. What's wrong with Arkansas? It's Olympic sport U in Fayetteville, and they're just leaning into it. They're really good at a lot of smaller sports that don't make money. And they're just admitting by making that hire that they're okay with that. I'm getting off on a tangent, but the point is that like the AD that is in the middle of fielding calls from Jimmy Sexton about all of his people and taking the messaging, don't get me started on that, which we'll get to at 9 o'clock with the way College Game Day covered the Lane Kiffin fiasco. Like sitting ADs have no place as they are trying to hire a coach. They're not watching all these games. No, they're not watching all. They're not staying up for Notre Dame, Stanford every week. They might be now because they have to at this point. But if you ever see me out in the wild in Middle Tennessee, and you want to make my day a little bit worse, ask me about the College Football Playoff Committee. Coming up, we had planned to get to more of your calls.
I swear
during
we're
this
going to
segment.
get to y'all.
So we're going to push the Jeffrey Simmons topic we were about to do.
You got
we're just going to let
right
you
there.
all. I know. That's on me. Y'all got me on a soapbox is what happened.
My boy got hot.
I'm going to point at you while understanding that the three fingers are still pointing back at me.
Yeah.
But again, if you want to ever make me mad, just talk about the playoff selection committee. We will go just to your phone calls. Rapid fire phones. Your reaction to the football weekend next.
It's Ramon Foster for Low T Center, man. Guys, I tell y'all all the time, man, you'll be wishing you had done it sooner. Do you know your levels? I promise you, some of that bad feeling that you have and you feeling groggy, don't have the energy, it's probably, be quite honest with you, it's probably because your testosterone is a little bit lower than you need. And I'm here to tell you, man, you just don't know what's going on the inside of your body, and that's why you need to head over to Low T Center, man. The Synergex and Low T Center, some of the best. You can walk in before 10 a.m. or you can book ahead at fixmylowt.com. Man, there was a guy that had a testimony, man, said it again. He turned 40, he felt tired. He said most of the guys that go to Low T Center and Synergex, man. He finally went in when he took his T levels. He was shocked that his T levels was below 300. I'm here to tell you that's really low. Now that he's on testosterone replacement therapy at Synergex and Low T Center, he said he feels better. He has the energy to do the things that he wants to. It's not a long visit at all, man. You're in and out in about 20 minutes. No waiting. You set your appointment on the mobile mobile app, and it's just an easy process for you too. And again, if you're not trying to, just slip in your personal life and with your relationships and just working people in your focus, this is just where you need to be. And I know what you're probably thinking, well, I don't want to go in there. Somebody might say to me, so what? Fix yourself. Screw what somebody's looking at you going in and out of the center. Or, hey, yes, I go get the tee shot. I'm here to tell you, man, it's something that can help you focus, change your life, and just give you back the energy that you want, man. Again, visit TRT or go to lowtcenter.com or visit one of the Synergex centers or fixmylowt.com.
If you were looking to buy or sell in the Nashville real estate market, it's a challenge. And just because everyone wants to move here does not mean it is an easy process to sell your home. Hey, it's Will Boulding for my good friend Bernie Gallerani of Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, the real estate agent who has the 30-day guarantee. What's the guarantee? He's guaranteeing to sell your home in 30 days or less, or Bernie will buy it. There's no risk to you. He will let you out of the contract at any time. Bernie Gallerani is the real estate agent with the 30-day guarantee. Check it out online, BernieGallerani.com, or just call him at 615-428-2644. Look, we all know that one house in the neighborhood that's been sitting there with the for sale sign collecting dust. You don't want that to be you. Google Bernie Gallerani Real Estate or head online to BernieGallerani.com. You can call him at 615-428-2644.
8:04, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans offense stalled out yesterday as they fall to the Jaguars 25-3. The Titans gained just 188 total yards of offense and only gained 11 first downs. Cam Ward threw for 141 yards, and Tony Pollard led the game in rushing with 60 yards. The Titans are 1-11 on the season. In college football on Saturday, Vanderbilt outscored Tennessee 31-3 in the final minutes of the first half and beyond for the rest of the game to go on to win 45-24. Diego Pavia threw for 268 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and also rushed for 165 yards and a touchdown. Vanderbilt finishes the season 10-2, and meanwhile, Tennessee finishes 8-4. Updates in the college football coaching carousel. Lane Kiffin declared yesterday that he will be the next head coach at LSU. The Rebels then hired defensive coordinator Pete Golding as their next permanent head coach, and he will coach Ole Miss in the playoffs instead of Kiffin. Auburn hired USF's Alex Golesh to replace Hugh Freeze. Florida hired Tulane head coach John Summerall to replace Billy Napier. Former Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald returns to the Big Ten as Michigan State's head coach after they fired Jonathan Smith yesterday. Arkansas replaces Sam Pittman with Memphis's Ryan Silverfield. Yesterday, Kentucky fired head coach Mark Stoops after 13 seasons. And on Friday, Clark Lee signed a 6-year contract to remain in Nashville with Vanderbilt. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, hour number 3, getting started on Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. He is the 11-year NFL veteran and Vol Network analyst, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins hits all the buttons, including ours. I say that in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Will Bowman.
I'll push your buttons.
615-737-1045. How you jump in. We've got one line open for your thoughts on Tennessee and Vanderbilt. We're going to go more long-term on Tennessee. Coming up here in 15 minutes, we've spoken a lot about the game on Saturday. We'll get to more of your phone calls in a moment. Diego Pavia, he backed it up.
Yeah, he did.
Had a lot to say, had a lot to do on the field. Back up all the words. 18-28, 268, a touchdown and 2 picks. 20 carries for 165 and another score. He will almost certainly be heading to New York for the Heisman ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure he'll win it, but he'll be there.
I got an idea for Vanderbilt's athletics department, too.
What's that?
If they want to go ahead and get some more NIL money, make a documentary. Go ahead. Put it on DVD. It's going to sell.
When Vandy broke its losing streak again. Every time Vandy beats Tennessee, they made a DVD about the game.
I say that in a like very positive way, though, too. They do. Like, make the DVD. Like,
oh, they will.
Yeah.
Oh, they will. Eli is in Nashville. Good morning, Eli.
Morning, Eli.
Morning, gentlemen. The sun is shining. God is smiling on the Vanderbilt fans today. You know, I figured 3 weeks ago we weren't even going to make college football playoffs because of what they're doing with Miami and Notre Dame. But all that be darned. You know, this was our natty, and we won it. That brings a smile to mine and all the 5 other fans out there of the Vanderbilt Commodores. Flowers to y'all for how y'all covered this team, and flowers to Clark Lee and Diego Pavia for the historic 10-win season. Love y'all. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, Eli. By the way, too, I looked up the committee a second ago. To Will's point, the conversation being loud about Miami getting into the CFP, however he got voted in, but David Saylor is Miami's athletic director since 2013. He's on the selection committee. I'm not trying to say this is the reason why Miami's in it. But to Will's point about, hey, you're not supposed to discuss the team whenever, you're supposed to remove
yourself on the record to the discussion.
Yeah.
But you think when those guys are having their probably 2-hour lunches, hey, what was the talk about?
David Saylor is the athletic director of Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. They missed it last year when they were supposed to make it.
Preston is next. Good morning, Preston.
What's going on, fellas? I just was hoping that you guys enjoyed that B2A this weekend at the state pen there in East Tennessee. And I wanted to touch on the playoff deal you're talking about. It's all political. I mean, Vanderbilt, they don't want Vandy. They're not going to take us because we're not first of all, 9-3 Texas, a 3-loss team should never be in my opinion. But we're not the big brand, like you said. It's just not going to happen. I think it's a travesty because you take those other teams in front of us and put them in the SEC. I'm not sure that they're going 10-2, especially Miami. So, and that point that Ramon just brought up about the AD, that seems just completely crooked to me. But anyways, I hope Diego wins the Heisman at least if we can't make the playoff, because I don't think there's a better player in college football. But also that's political, so I kind of see us getting screwed on both sides. But I'll take the 10-2 year with closing out against Tennessee. You guys have a good day.
You too,
Thank you,
Preston.
Appreciate the call.
Oh.
I think what you can't do is view the season within the context of the playoff, and I think that's the last two callers have made the right points. College football is not a postseason sport. College football was always meant to be about the regionality of beating your rival, competing well in your conference, and letting the chips fall where they may in the postseason from there. College football is not about who wins in sterile NFL stadiums, not on college campuses. College football is about Saturdays on campus, beating your rival and having bragging rights. And Vandy, you've got it for the next 12 months.
Yeah, you do.
There is no taking any of that away from you. And I agree that, again, there are things outside of your control that are going to keep you out of the college football playoff, which we have been talking about for the last month. Even at 10-2, Tennessee last season needed help to get into the CFP, and they got it. This season at 10-2, Vanderbilt did not get the help that it needed. It's that simple.
We said that last year, too, about it. Like, there was a lot of stuff that had to happen for the Vols.
There's no guarantee that 2 losses or 3 losses put you in or out. And I disagree with Preston's point. I think Texas has just as strong a case as Vandy does, because Texas went out there on a limb and scheduled Ohio State. And you know what? To be honest with you, they've played Ohio State closer than anyone else in the country this year. A team that also might have a guy in New York and Julian Sayin. So those are the facts again. And Texas is a big brand. And heck, Miami is a big brand. I think you could argue to this point, Miami's not been treated as well by the committee as they should, because Notre Dame, again, is the one I don't understand in this, that's somehow inexplicably ahead of Miami with losses to 2 playoff fringe teams. But again, like, they played each other. Yeah. Miami beat Notre Dame. Let's go back to the phones.
I ain't got no answer on
Curtis in the borough next. Hey, Curtis.
Hey, how you doing, fellas?
Good morning, Curtis.
So, I agree with everything you're saying. First, go Vols. Heupel's still a good coach. I love what he's doing. We're keep on keeping on. But as far as the whole college playoff things are concerned, in Tennessee, the high schools, everything's broke down into divisions. Whoever wins that division goes to the playoffs. Whoever wins ends up being the state champion. And you also have the lower region schools, and comparable to NCAA, your Division I, Division II, Division III. In my opinion, make it simple. If you're going to be a Division I NCAA football program, then you need to be competitive in the Division I ball. Mm-hmm. And you take all of the teams in Division I throughout the conferences. Whoever wins your conference through Division I ball goes to the playoffs. And if Tennessee isn't good enough to win the SEC conference, then Tennessee shouldn't go to the playoffs. And you do the same thing for Division II and Division III. Not only would you give other players and other colleges an opportunity to have their own national championship, think of the recognition that you're going to start getting as a Division II or Division III school, and to highlight players just like Pavia and some of these other guys that came from lower schools. Thanks for what you do. That's all I got, guys.
No doubt.
Thank you, Curtis. The issue with that is not every conference is created equally. And that in this case, I mean, let's say if you're giving an automatic bid and you just have only conference champions go to the playoff, the 6th best team in the SEC is better than the ACC's best team. So why are you giving the ACC a seat at the table when the 6th best
league?
Yeah, but I don't care about that. Like that works in the NFL because there is competitive balance and there is the invisible hand of the NFL draft order and scheduling that allows bad teams to get better and good teams make it harder for them to continue to be good. Like, divisions are marginally equal. If you win a division in the NFL, you deserve a seat and you could win the whole thing. That's not always true in college football just because you won your conference. Like, not every conference is created close to equally.
I got an answer for Vanderbilt and CFP, too.
Okay.
And I didn't even think about it. We saw him. We talked to him. We had a conversation with him. He's right here in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a guy in Murfreesboro that y'all can go. No, don't go to him.
No,
Please,
do not show up at MTSU.
Show up.
But MTSU AD Chris Massaro is on the committee.
He's on the selection committee.
Yeah, that's right.
He was on our show earlier this year and disclosed that to us also and said it, and it's also public knowledge. If you wanted Middle Tennessee representation or somebody to bang on the table for you, I mean, they're kinfolk. Yeah, he may be doing that already, to your point.
We're not privy to what those conversations are like.
But MTSU Director of Athletics, Chris Massaro, is right here in Middle Tennessee, so he's hearing the noise. Hell, he might even be listening to us right now.
Maybe.
Just the point to be made about representation, though.
Coming up, where does Tennessee go next? I have changed my opinion on one big issue with Tennessee football. We'll talk about it after this.
Let's talk about your hair. If you're losing it and desire to have it back, then Advanced Hair Restoration has the easiest guaranteed solution. They're simple. One-day treatment offers life-changing results. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys, it's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated doctors, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it grows for life. So schedule your free consultation now. You can call them 629-348-HAIR. If you qualify also, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and they are the team I personally recommend. So don't wait. Check out the befores and afters online if you don't believe me. Again, the number is 629-348-HAIR. Visit our website at advancedhair.com.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone continues in the third hour this morning. If you are a Vandy fan wanting to gloat, if you enjoy our misery, and I know many of you do, and that's okay, as long as you listen, and you missed any of it in hour two, you can subscribe wherever you download podcasts to Ramona and Will. We invite you to follow us, hit the little plus sign when you are there. If you're a Vols fan worrying about the state of the program, wanting to know how we'd fix it, well, we're going to do that right now. So you can stream us live, 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, or hit up the podcast feed. Before we do that, though, Eric in Columbia has been waiting to chime in on Vanderbilt's. Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Morning, Eric.
Morning. You guys probably don't remember, I called in last year. We were talking about how the old NCAA football games, with the BCS ranking, how you were able to take a team, and I talked about, using Vanderbilt. I bring that back up because we're sitting here talking about Alabama. So first of all, I want to ask you a question. Alabama is 100% win-loss ACC championship game. A lock.
100%.
I think so, yeah.
100%?
I do.
Okay, but they got demolished week one by a 2-win team now.
Yep.
That's correct.
Sure did.
They also have the best win in college football this year at Georgia.
And Vanderbilt has the second best.
Against who?
Where?
Against Tennessee.
No, that's not the second best win in college football.
Personally,
that's
yeah.
not a top 10 win in college football. The second best win is Texas, probably over Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Or Indiana going to Oregon. I mean, we could go to Miami over Notre Dame's a better win.
Okay, but still, if that's fine, and I'm not going to disagree with your opinion, and your opinion is your opinion. But I also bring that up too, though, because we're talking about a team that has 2 losses to, shall say, the biggest brands in probably college football, right?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, I mean, you're in the same boat as Utah, BYU, Miami, and Texas. Those are your peers right now in terms of the bubble for the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we have gone out week in and week out and proven that we belong. And I understand that the college playoff football rankings is nothing better than the BCS. So they didn't do anything to improve the BCS.
Not really, especially when it becomes, I don't want to say opinion-based, Eric, but when it becomes involvement in potentially of other schools or the optics, or to be quite honest with you, the brand that teams have. I ain't going to say over you, because if you're good, and you deserve that praise. And I think that's where a lot of Vanderbilt fans are coming from. You're good. But nobody's recognizing it right now. To Will's point, like, yes, Texas is a 3-loss team, but they went up against A&M and made A&M look pedestrian that night. Like, an A&M fought. It was a real good game. Alabama versus Georgia. Like, these – and here's the other part, too, Eric, that sucks for y'all and Vanderbilt as a whole. The teams that were supposed to be good this year, South Carolina, Virginia Tech was supposed to be competitive, LSU, Tennessee – I don't want to say nobody held up their end of the bargain, but like legitimately looking at it, who would have thought in 22 that South Carolina was going to do what they did to Tennessee in that moment? South Carolina wasn't supposed to be that good on that night, but you lost. So you're not even in that conversation anymore. Like, we've experienced that too as Vols fans. Just like, well, it was just one loss against South Carolina. Like, but the way they view these things and brands, I will reiterate again, or brands matter. The best thing that I can say for you to do is, one, have somebody either banging on the table for you, and this is just not even a football schematics thing. Have somebody be loud for your fan base, or in the other conversation, do what Texas Tech, who's not a major brand like that, or Indiana's doing. And that's putting belt to behind on everybody they're seeing right now.
Well, and two, I think it's beyond even brand in that we are always too married to preseason rankings.
That, yes.
It's not just who's on your helmet. It's who's on your helmet and what was the little number by your team name in August and September. What?
I was told him to tell him, who was that? Chris that just called?
Eric.
Eric, Our good friend here at the station said Vandy would get in if you would change that smoke detector. That was Big Boss Bird.
Would
said,
you
put a battery in your smoke detector, Eric?
Do you want Vandy in the playoff? Head by your local convenience store, pick up some AA batteries or whatever batteries your smoke detector takes.
I love that. Let me know Eric in the trenches still out here, man.
Eric brings up good points. Again, we went over what the BCS rankings would be earlier in the show. Vandy would be 11th in the BCS rankings, which would be the first team out.
It's the worst year to have a great season.
Yeah.
There's still a week of voting left, though, right?
This week is basically going to decide it, because I still will be shocked if a conference championship loser is really downgraded all that much. Yeah. I mean, maybe it could. I'm going to find the BCS rankings again, make sure I have this right. Vanderbilt would be 12. He'd be 12. So you'd be the second team out.
Second team out.
At this point. With two teams that are outside the top 12 obviously being gift-wrapped spots.
Technically, the committee's still getting it right according to the BCS.
Yeah.
Based on...
Yeah, there's not a big difference between what the BCS rankings are and what the committee rankings are at this point. We'll see when the rankings come out, at the end of the day, what they are. But at this point, again, BCS rankings, your top 15. We'll just go through all these really quick. Ohio State would be 1. Indiana would be 2. Georgia 3. Oregon 4. Ole Miss 5. Texas Tech number 6 in the BCS rankings. Texas A&M drops to 7. Oklahoma would be 8. Notre Dame would be 9. That's still the one I don't understand. Alabama 10. BYU 11. Vanderbilt 12. Miami 13. Texas 14. Utah 15. I think they've got all that right, other than maybe Vandy ahead of Miami. And the other caveat before you go, in terms of the scores and what the BCS gives you, one of the biggest drop-offs is from BYU at 11 to Vandy at 12. There is a gap, pretty big gap, between BYU at 11 and Vandy at 12 in the BCS formula, if that was what was used today.
Just real quick, 'cause I know we got that topic to get to, but we're looking at quality losses, which the committee said they would do, that Notre Dame deserves to be in. And if that's the case, I ain't going to say deserve to be in, a 1-point loss to Texas Tech, Texas A&M. Another team in Miami who's also considered, they lost to them by 3 points. Their 2 losses have been by 4 points.
Well, and again, you look at the way Notre Dame lost that game, too. It's a missed extra point at the end of the game. That's the difference between winning and losing against A&M. And by the way, too, a crazy scramble drill play at the end of the game for Marcel Reed to find somebody in the end zone to win it.
And if we're looking at the why 2 weeks ago, the Syracuse game, 70-7, I know in the BCS world that counts. I'm not here to
the lacrosse player at quarterback.
Yeah, I know. I'm not here to stand on the table for Notre Dame.
Just explaining what their reasoning is.
I'm looking at it they put up a lot of points.
Well, and 2, the committee has been consistent that being a balanced team matters. And statistically, Vanderbilt is not that. You are a really good offense with a mediocre defense, statistically. Again, I don't think that should totally matter.
Right.
This committee has stamped that as mattering. If you're Vandy fan and you want a little bit of positivity on this and maybe that you've got an outside shot, because I don't think this is 100% done and dusted. Here's the thing. This committee makes a habit of changing the rules when the last rankings come out. So there is still a chance. You are not 100% out of this. There's still a chance that they put you up at 10 and you jump over BYU and Miami and Utah, and you keep Texas behind you. I do not think that's going to happen. I will be stunned if that happens, but it's not 100% either way. Transitioning, Ramon, to the Tennessee Football Volunteers. We've given Vandy a lot of time. We've given Vandy the first crack at the analysis this morning because they earned it in the way they played in that football game.
Sorry.
Tennessee has to answer a lot of questions this offseason. 49% of their roster in 2025 was either freshman or redshirt freshmen. An 8-4 season this year, Ramon, that has losses to Georgia, Alabama, at a good Florida team, and maybe at an improved Mississippi State team would have been a lot different than what we got. Where Tennessee went 1-3 at home in SEC games, didn't have a ranked win, and had 4 SEC wins against teams that combined to win 5 SEC games. Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Florida combined to go 5-27 in SEC play. How do you view this season, and how do you evaluate Tennessee football in 2025?
It can be a good foundation for what should be coming, period. Nobody really mentioned the young roster this year, and considering what happened with Nico and et cetera, but even beside that, you got good play out of Joey Aguilar. The defense showed some signs early on, and then that died off. I view this year as a solid season for a team that had, I think, a lot of internal turmoil. That's the way I look at it. I know they hit a lot of stuff this year. You end up kicking the player off the team and Boo Carter. I do think when you view the way Heupel's kind of manning this ship a little bit, instability rocks the boat a little bit too much, and it shows on game days for my personal liking. I like Heupel. I think he's a damn good coach. He's probably in the last 15, 20 years the best coaches that the Vols have seen in a while. I know there's a lot of hype around, Lane, Kiffin being in that conversation. Lane was 7-5. Damn that. Heupel hadn't gone 7-5, maybe his first year.
2021.
If he sets this next offseason up perfectly, I think it has to be perfect. The amount of young guys that played can take him to a level that I don't know that he recognizes as a coach yet, but it has to start with him. Has to start with his assistant coaches.
Got to get the payoff of what this year was.
Yes.
If you're going to stomach this year.
Yeah. You know this crowd. You know our fan base.
Sure.
We can go left fast. And that's where I'll stop before you go, because I have my opinions on it too. But I think it's a bad ending to what could be a great start for him.
It's okay if this was a rebuild and reload season if you get the payoff in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
What 2025 does is turn up the heat and the pressure a little bit on Josh Heupel, because not all 8-4 seasons are created equally. The big game losses, the self-inflicted errors, the things that Tennessee did that you can chalk up to coaching are problematic. The penalties, the offensive pass interference call that gets you pushed back to 2nd and 30 and takes away your opportunity to go up 2 touchdowns on Vandy at the end of the second quarter that then allows them to win the middle 8 and dominate you for the rest of the game. Things like that are happening a lot. It's the false start penalties. It's the pre-snap stuff. It's a false start before you're about to kick a game-winning field goal against Georgia that knocks you back far enough to where you miss the game-winning field goal against Georgia. It's things that you feel like are under your control. This team did not meet expectations based on who was on its schedule. And I'm willing to say that this was the first season under Josh Heupel where I feel like this group did not meet what it could have been. Because an 8-4 season, Ramon, that includes maybe a ranked Arkansas or Mississippi State that gets a little bit better.
Right.
A Kentucky team that looks like Kentucky and not the one that just fired its coach last night at Mark Stoops. A Florida team that is what we expected them to be, that you go beat at the Swamp. All of those things, if this schedule had been tougher and you go 8-4, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But if you watched the games and if you understood who was on Tennessee's schedule for them to beat, we'll throw Syracuse in there as a team that massively underachieved. They went 3-9 this season. I know they saw Steve Angeli and the rest of their schedule didn't, but again, this is the first time that Tennessee's not met expectations under Josh Heupel. And that could just mean that. It could mean that this was a reload year that wasn't as good as you thought, and you move forward. And again, Tennessee played a lot of freshmen that may be really good sophomores next season and redshirt sophomores next season because Josh Heupel bit the bullet for 1 year and said, we're going to grow with these guys, like it or not. That may be the better long-term thing for this program. Josh Heupel does not need to be on the hot seat. Josh Heupel's job is not in jeopardy. We do not need to be talking about firing Josh Heupel. But we do need to talk about Tim Banks because I've changed my opinion on Tim Banks. Ramon, Tim Banks makes too much money to put that defense on the field and survive. I think Tennessee needs to make a change at defensive coordinator. And I think that you need to look around the market right now and see how much instability there is in coaching circles and say, who could we get? Because Blake Baker's sitting out there. Could talk to LSU, could be retained by Lane Kiffin, could go be the North Texas head coach, could go be the Memphis head coach. Are you willing to offer Tim Banks money right now? Because if so, I think you could upgrade a defensive coordinator. All season, there have been issues at corner because Jermon McCoy was out for the season and Ricky Gibson got hurt against Syracuse. I get that. But you cannot let Vanderbilt walk into your stadium and get 582 yards of total offense, Ramon, and none of us are even surprised about it.
There's no answer.
That's the thing.
Nope.
It's not even that they did it. It's that our reaction to it is like, well, all right, what did the offense not do? That's the issue for Tennessee on Saturday because nothing that Vanderbilt did offensively really surprised me against Tennessee. The issue is, how did Vandy do that to your offense where you couldn't respond? I thought this game would be played in the 40s and 50s. I thought Tennessee could win this 52-49 the way they did in 2022. And the defense was so bad this year that we came out of that game saying, well, what's wrong with the offense? Tennessee's defense this season finished 14th in the SEC in points allowed, 14th in yardage allowed, 12th in rushing defense, 15th in passing defense, 13th in third down defense. 2 corners don't fix that.
Nope.
Jermon McCoy and Ricky Gibson's health don't save you from the incompetence that you showed defensively, the inability to scheme up pressure in the right moments. They were blitzing Ramon into really bad looks on Saturday. Second and medium blitzes.
Can I tell you about one?
Hit me.
And if I almost felt like that was my point in the game where I was just like, I don't know if he has a plan for what he's want to do. I just think he's trying to find an answer.
Grasping at straws.
I think it was, the scenario was it was 8 men in a box. Vanderbilt lines up wide, too, because of college hashes allow you to get as close to the sideline as you possibly can. There were 8 men in the box, nobody in the middle of the field at all, and he sent nobody to the middle of the field. He had in that position right there, Colton Hood, one-on-one with Junior Sherrill. Diego checks. No movement from the defense at all. Nobody drops back. Nobody looks over. You got these guys wide as hell with the 8-man box right there over Vanderbilt's offense, and he ran a slant route with no help right there. And I'm thinking to myself, that's flagrant. I trust the corner, so I love Colton Hill. He's a first or second rounder with how he's played this year. But no cornerback should be put in that position where you got 51 yards of green grass in front of you with a guy as quick as Junior Sherrill in that moment. We'll even go back to the doggone Georgia game. You put a freshman in Ty Redmond in a one-on-one situation and press him up against a veteran wide receiver at that point in a gotta-have-it moment in fourth down and 6. It's flagrant to your point, like the logistics of how he's calling these plays and where he's calling them, if that's even a word, the rate in which he's calling them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just don't make sense to me in these moments. Like, the offense had its issues with what Vanderbilt did to it on Saturday. But the defense not having a plan that you can say, yes, this works in that moment right there. It's been time and time again looking at the duration of this season where you had ETSU play you in ways. You have UAB play you in ways and extend drives time and time again. There's been no adjustment to it whatsoever. And that, to me, like, I'm not huge on saying fire a guy. But you need to look at your personnel. You need to look at the guys you're recruiting, your decision-makings that you're making on game day, or the lack of adjustments that you have in these opportunities right here. Like, it's problematic where you have third and long and team after team get first downs on you consistently.
It was a big issue all season, not just in this game. And in this game, Vanderbilt was 7 and 10 on third down. They were 5 of 5 in 3rd and 3 or less. That is an indictment on your individual development of young football players. That's an indictment on the defensive staff. That's an indictment on scheme. It's an indictment on a lot of things. One of two things has to happen. Tennessee's either got to take the same roster building mentality and fire Tim Banks, or they've got to spend a lot more money in the transfer portal and in roster retention on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Take your pick. I don't care which path you take. You don't have to fire Tim Banks. But if you're not going to fire him, Heupel, you better go spend 3/4 of your NIL money on defense. And it's just really that simple. Josh Heupel's got to decide, am I buddies with my assistant coaches? Or am I a coach that's got to make hard decisions in the best interest of my football program? And I'm curious if Danny White gets involved in that process as well.
I would think so.
Because Danny White is the type of athletic director and the type of leader that I think is willing to bring a coach in and have hard conversations to say, I'm not firing you. I'm not taking money out of your pocket. I'm not buying you out. Like, you're the guy. We're going to have a conversation here, but I'm going to be honest with you about what I think also, in that they've got to go one or two directions. And this is squarely on Josh Heupel. Either change your roster building philosophy and get more money pumped into that defense, or get a new defensive coordinator that can coach the caliber of players that you are acquiring.
Other part, too, the weight room has to change. The methods, the mentality. You have way too many guys falling to the ground in situations where they're back on the field 2 plays later. Like, I'm not huge on saying this back in my day toughness, et cetera, but I will say this. I think team toughness, physicality gets hardened over the summer and spring and summer. You have Joey Aguilar, who just got there in April, say this: we got to attack practice every day more seriously. Why are you not?
And why is that just now being, I mean, maybe it has been discussed, but why is that a thing in December? That should be a thing in July.
The 12 games are over at this point. So the evaluation period right now for us and him and everybody else involved in the program has to happen. If you can challenge every other coach on that campus,
right?
Football being the biggest moneymaker, period. That brand has to stay elite because you've shown us this. You can't take it back. No takesy backsies, not even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally will say to that, the summer component of how he's asking guys to honestly kick ass at the line of scrimmage has to be more elite.
More of your phone calls coming up, 615-737-1045. Does Tennessee need a change at defensive coordinator? We'll talk more about it next. What's up? It's Will Bowling for my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center, your sound solution, getting you off the sidelines and back in the game in Middle Tennessee. Hey, if you were in a crowded room last week, you're thinking about Thanksgiving, you're thinking about that one family member that maybe wasn't hearing as well as they used to. They're asking people to repeat themselves over and over because with the background noise of the sounds of the kitchen and the living room, you just don't understand conversation as well as you used to. Maybe I'm talking about you, and you're not hearing your kids, your grandkids as well as you used to. Brentwood Hearing Center can help. This is the place to go in Middle Tennessee to find out what sounds you've been missing. Go by Brentwood Hearing Center. You can check them out online, BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. You can schedule an appointment, 615-377-0420. Take one of their diagnostic tests. Find out what sounds you've been missing and learn about the technology that they have that can help you get off the sidelines and back in the game. They've got the best technology on the market, and you are also getting the advice of a doctor of audiology to get you the right technology. Check them out online, BrentwoodHearingCenter.com, or call them at 615-377-0420. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone. Wrapping up hour 3. Does Tennessee need a change at defensive coordinator? 615-737-1045. I'm going to talk about Lane Kiffin in 10 minutes as well, because my goodness, that saga is mercifully over, and Marty Smith can go home.
Marty crushed it. I got to give it to him.
I have so much respect for Marty Smith.
That interview he had,
good dude, too.
He tried to force Lane to say some stuff, and he got a couple of answers out of him, but Lane know how to navigate the why did you choose. It was the why did you choose LSU question that Lane kind of sidestepped a good bit.
You're going to hear some of that coming up in 10 minutes? First, we go to the phones where Trey is in Clarksville up next. Good morning, Trey.
Morning, Trey.
Morning, fellas. Appreciate you taking my call. Yeah, I'm just calling about Heupel and the situation up there with Tim Banks. I'm with you, Will. I think they need to probably move on there. I do have a concern with Heupel. How many people has he fired in his tenure up there?
0.
You guys know?
None.
Yeah, that's a concern. If you look at Tennessee's history, a couple of guys that compared him to, Johnny Majors back in the 80s, he fired guys every all season.
Yeah.
One difference I think in Heupel, and you hate to make comparisons, but you have to. One difference you got there between I think Majors, Fulmer, and Heupel. Majors and Fulmer, they were what I think this term is overused in today's society, but they were alphas. I don't think Heupel is. I think he has a hard time letting folks go. I don't know if he has a great command of the locker room. You look at the Boo Carter situation, throughout the year, it's just that took too long to resolve. I do wish they would move on from Banks and maybe a couple other guys. I think Rodney Garner is probably going to go to Auburn with Golis. I think that could be a problem. But I know they got Marion Hobby on staff and a couple other guys that he might look to promote from within. But I think it's a concern. I mean, it's clear that Heupel's done a really good job up to this point. But at the same time, I think it's fair to question, can he win a championship? I mean, because that's the ultimate goal.
Right.
So he's proven he can get you to the playoffs. If he's going to take the next step, he's going to have to make some changes up there.
He is.
What happened Saturday night, that should be a wake-up call.
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate the call.
And just the conversation, too, of fire. You don't fire just for the sake of firing. I think the conversation of removing people is the want to always get better.
Right.
Where are we lacking at? How can we move forward, get better in this department? So, yeah, I do side with that. Why defensively do these things keep happening? Even last year, right? You didn't have an answer for what South Carolina provided to you 2 years ago. It's those type of situations where the beatdown has got to happen, offensively and defensively, and you're not seeing it constantly.
Yeah, I think that Rodney Garner's time at Tennessee is probably over. I don't have any inside knowledge on that. It has felt like through reading VolQuest that wouldn't be shocking if that contract doesn't get extended. It expires January 31st of 26. They're going to make a decision there. He's also, I mean, he's not getting any younger. Like, he may not want to coach anymore. Like, I just don't know. But it has felt like reading the tea leaves that this is probably it for Rodney Garner. Maybe he does go back to his alma mater and coach with Golish. I don't know. I mean, Golish may poach a little bit of your defensive staff, potentially. Let's go to Bill in the Borough. What's up, Bill?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Excuse my voice. I haven't recovered from Saturday yelling and screaming at Nealon. All for naught, but that's okay. Congratulations, Vandy.
Appreciate your efforts.
Ramon, I want to go back and just kind of talk a little bit about what you said about what Joey Aguilar said about practice. I've been screaming that all year, and I don't understand why we take practice softly. You're a VFL, know. You've been there in those days. We've seen in our past histories the Al Wilsons, the tough players who take charge, and really probably the players lead practice from within and the coaches from the outside take over practice. But I just don't see our blue-collar mentality that we used to have back in your day and Al Wilson's day. And we can go on and on and on with other players, but we're acting like a white-collar team in a blue-collar conference, and I don't understand the mentality. I don't understand the lack of fire and enthusiasm from our entire coaching staff on the sideline. the players seem to play as the coach's coach, and there's a saying, the tail will follow the head, and that's exactly what is happening. The players don't have the enthusiasm. It appears, outside looking in, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not calling for anyone to be fired. But you said something the other day. If you're not the quarterback, if he's a quarterback coach, Heupel is. He wants to be the cool guy in the locker room and on the sideline. If he's going to be that, he needs to get his a-hole coach in there who's going to take charge. And just want to reflect on that. Am I looking at it wrong? Have we turned into a white collar team and just lost our physicality?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate it, Bill.
I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying.
I do too.
We got to get out of here, but I think that Alex Golish was the closest thing that Tennessee's had to a bad cop. It's okay if you want to be good cop. Just make sure you always have bad cop on offense. And I think Joey Halsley and Josh Heupel are wired similarly as player, coach, good cop type personalities. Yes.
Well, I would say this real quick. Be good at being bad so much that, like, the transparency and honesty part of it, too. Nick Saban was able to be bad cop, and had a lot of bad cops on his roster because you're honest and transparent and everybody's held to the same level, i.e. the Boot Carter situation, Nico situation.
Right.
The stories that came out about what Nico was allowed to do versus everybody else and the accountability side of it, you can't allow that to just bleed if it's true.
Which, by the way, speaking of Joey Halsley, this morning Pete Nakos at On 3 has mentioned Joey Halsley as a candidate to be the offensive coordinator at Florida with John Summerall. Says 3 names to know at offensive coordinator for John Summerall, according to Pete Nakos. Pitt's Cade Bell, Georgia Tech's Buster Faulkner, and Tennessee's Joey Halsley.
All right, then.
Interesting. 615-737-1045. Lane Kiffin mercifully, finally, our long national nightmare is over. He's the head coach at LSU. We'll play some of his interview with Marty Smith and react to all of that fiasco and how some people really got it wrong over the weekend. Coming up next.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. I'll be home for Christmas. If only in my dreams.
9:03, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans offense stalled out yesterday as they fall to the Jaguars 25-3 at home in Nissan Stadium. The Titans gained just 188 total yards of offense and only gained 11 first downs. Cam Ward threw for 141 yards, and Tony Pollard led the game in rushing with 60 yards on the ground. The Titans are 111 on the year. In college football on Saturday, Vanderbilt dominated Tennessee to win 45-24. Diego Pavia threw for 268 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions, and also rushed for 165 yards and a touchdown in the win. Vanderbilt finishes the season 10-2, and Tennessee finishes 8-4. Update in the college football coaching carousel, highlighted by Lane Kiffin to LSU for $13 million per year on a 7-year basis. Ole Miss then hired defensive coordinator Pete Golding as their next permanent head coach, and he will also coach the Rebels in the playoffs instead of Lane Kiffin. USF's Alex Golesh will head to Auburn. Florida's hiring Tulane's John Summerall. Former Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald returns to the Big Ten to coach Michigan State. Kentucky fired head coach Mark Stoops after 13 seasons yesterday. And on Friday, Clark Lee signed a 6-year contract to remain in Nashville to coach Vanderbilt. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans involves. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 4 of the program on this Monday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Justin Hawkins making the show happen. Ramon Foster, myself, Will Bowling at Ramon and Will, where you stream and interact with the show on Twitter. So Lane Kiffin is finally going to be the next head coach at LSU. Going to talk about that. Going to hear his comments with Marty Smith. We will get back to Titans talk in 15 minutes, as Cam Ward had some interesting things to say yesterday after the Tennessee Titans 25-3 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. As little Titans as we've talked on a Monday in a while, because Tennessee Vanderbilt deserved it with the beatdown that Vanderbilt put the second half on Tennessee in the second half. If you missed any of that, if you want to hear us give Vandy a lot of credit this morning, hit the podcast channel. We got one tweet from a person on Twitter who I will remain nameless. I'm going to try, Ramon, not to give shout-outs to dumb comments of people that just want their name read on air. We got one comment yesterday of like, can't wait to tune in Monday and hear the excuses. Hashtag anchor down. What excuses? You won by 21 points. We're going to give a lot of credit to Vanderbilt for what they did to Tennessee on Saturday afternoon. And if you think we're going to make excuses for it, you probably just see our tweets and you actually haven't been listening.
Oh, my gosh.
So, anyway.
Some people just want to hear you just glaze them. They want to see you bend the knee. And, I feel like, to be quite honest with you, we've been fair.
Absolutely.
In my personal opinion. Now, I might be wrong because I wear orange to a lot of people. Some people you're just not going to convince.
Every Vandy fan that's called in this morning has said, thank you guys for covering us the way that we've had. We're not looking for a pat on the back.
No.
But we're also not going to look for the crap that we get a lot of. Like, well, you're just going to make excuses. You're just that. No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Not even going to read those people's names on air.
It was B to A this past weekend is what it was.
100%. No other way around it. Probably not enough to make the playoff, but that's out of your control.
Don't say that. They're going to call you a hater.
That's okay.
Stop. Don't say that, Will. They're going to call you a hater.
That's okay. Lane Kiffin talked to Marty Smith at the tarmac as birds and boos were flying at him in Oxford as he headed to Baton Rouge to become the next head coach at LSU. A piece of that interview here, and great stuff from ESPN's Marty Smith with Lane Kiffin.
You've just left your last meeting with the Ole Miss Rebels, and you're getting ready to get on an airplane to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What is going through your mind right now?
Well, first, I just watched you do something unbelievable and go off-road around the fire trucks to get here, so amazing job by you. You know that this was a very challenging, difficult day. You know, we went through a lot last night with Keith Carter trying to figure out a way, to make this playoff, run work and be able to coach the team. And at the end of the day, that's his decision, and I totally respect that. I understand that decision, and so I just totally wish the team the best of luck, wish that I was coaching, but understand that it was a very challenging position for him and the chancellor to be in, and totally respect that. So, just really hope they play really well and go win the national championship.
What drew this decision out so long?
It was really difficult. This has been a really special place. 6 years here. I know that there's a lot of feelings and emotions right now around. I hope when they settle down that there's an appreciation about what we were able to do here and having, the best run that's ever been done in the history of the school, and brought some exciting times. So I'm so appreciative to the people of Oxford and the relationships that I developed here. And when I spoke at my dad's funeral, he moved 17 times. And I realized when all the people, I got all the letters, calls, people showed up from around all those different spots, NC State, all the different spots he coached. And they said he was able to impact them and how much that meant to them. And so I've really strived since that day to really try to impact people and help people through life, through my journey. So just prayed a lot and made a family decision and, hopefully get a chance to go, impact a whole new set of people.
I understand you didn't attend the meeting today. Why not?
I totally respect Keith's decision.
So that was his decision?
Yeah. He asked me not to come to the meeting and said I couldn't come, but which I totally understand. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. We're trying to find a way, to make this work and coach the team and give the team the best chance to win. But I also, he's got a job to do, and like he said, he has to live here. So, like he said, maybe all the national people understand why he should let me coach, but he has to live here, and it's a little different when you're the AD. So totally respect that. And Keith has been amazing to us over the 6 years.
That's Lane Kiffin speaking with ESPN's Marty Smith. Rebels have won 10 or more games 3 of the last 4 years, including each of the last 2 seasons. The first time that has happened at Ole Miss since 1959 and 1960. Lane's 4 10-win seasons over the last 5 years are more than the team had in the previous 50 seasons combined. He becomes the 35th head coach in LSU history. He is 115-53 as an FBS head coach. Ramon, what is your reaction to what you just heard, to the journey that Lane Kiffin took us on, and to his future as the head coach of the LSU Tigers?
Shout out to Marty. First, I just want to say that.
It's a great
also
place to start.
Get a vocal conversation from him. I want to point out his partner too, Ron McGee, because people were coming at Ron McGee and Marty about the conversation that they had with Lane earlier this year, and I just want to put this tweet out there. Somebody said they should be embarrassed by the interview they did with Lane earlier this year and how he's changed. Ron McGee, Vol, also said this: I'm not embarrassed. He said what he said to us 7+ months ago, and in that moment, he meant it. In that moment, he meant it.
Meaning the E60 series and kind of mini documentary that they did on Lane Kiffin and how much he's changed since he was at Tennessee.
Yes, and he goes on to say, not like I'm alone here based on the overwhelming reaction we had to the E60. Those who believed in him way greater than the doubters. One day we'll just add this to the latest of many lives to the story. That's where I want to go. Lane just going to be Lane. I also said, if you ever do a crime with Lane Kiffin, you going to jail with him. Lane is never going down alone. He going to rise up on a solo mission. And I don't say that to disparage him. It's just how the business is. You got to think, as he said, he was raised in this lifestyle. He's seen change. He's moved to 17 different cities and jobs. His dad lived this. Ron McGee, I think, has told the story about how, was it in him that didn't like Lane when they were growing up, or somebody told the story about how there's always these different type of stories. Lane has grew up with, I ain't gonna say a silver spoon, but that thing might just need some shining.
He's a nomad.
He's a nomad. This just says him. I'm looking at the bodies that Lane dropped on that statement and that he had to Marty right there. Keith Carter. Dropped that body
director
in the middle of the road. Later in that conversation, he goes on to say the decisions that he made, or the reason why he made the decision. He drops Nick Saban name in that.
Pete Carroll
name in that. His dad name in that. Lane, I think he's changed. But Lane ain't ever going down alone. Yeah. He's never. When asked the question as to why he was going to LSU, he said, there's more to that conversation. You should go check out that tweet. He goes on to say, I talked to some people I trust. Leave it there. But he mentions Nick Saban and Pete Carroll as the guys that pretty much told him you should go. Lane, just go because you want to go. So, Ole Miss fans, shout out to my guy Ben Zeidman, who's an Ole Miss alum. I said that Lane, I told him then, I ain't going to leave y'all. It's just how he operates.
And I'll tell LSU fans the same thing right now.
That's what I was just going to say.
The second Kalen DeBoer gets run out of Tuscaloosa, get ready. Get ready.
Because
you got Jimmy Sexton's number. Get ready.
The questions that I asked for Lane Kiffin on making this move, when? Because are you saying Lane is going to LSU to become a legacy coach, have a statue built, or is Lane going to get that national championship and see what's next? I think it's the latter.
Because it's well documented how much Lane wanted a call for the Alabama job that never came 2 years ago to follow his mentor, Nick Saban. Yeah. Two things on this before we get back to Titans. One, the messaging from hosts of College Game Day, from the people that were deployed in media to put out there the narrative that Lane Kiffin should be allowed to coach Ole Miss in the college football playoff is shameful. There is no world where you let a rival SEC head coach in the college football playoff and recruit that roster and LSU's roster while coaching you. Okay? So that's the first thing on this. There is no world where you let Lane Kiffin coach the college football playoff as the head coach at LSU. I still believe that is the only reason this took so long. Only reason this took so long on Saturday night is because Lane was fighting tooth and nail to get to finish the job because he knows how good a chance this team has at winning a national championship. Because for Lane, it's all about Lane. It is. He's going to sell it to you as it's about the team, about the players. No, it's not. If that was the case, you would have taken this job weeks ago and let Ole Miss actually get a plan and be able to hire someone to, get this, coach those same players and actually have time to get a plan together. So that's the number one thing on this. Anybody out there that was implying that, and a lot of smart people that I like I love Kirk Herbstreit. I think he does a great job. Like, this idea that Lane should be allowed to coach Ole Miss is just, it's nonsense. It's total nonsense. Nick Saban was on that same desk. You know what Nick Saban did when Lane was hired? Man. He let him go because it was a distraction and he's not mature enough to handle it. So that's the first part of this. The second part, and it's the secondary part of it, is that the calendar really does stink.
It does.
It really does stink. I don't know how you change it.
Signing day is in 4 days?
Yeah, for signing day is Wednesday.
Wednesday.
The period of signing day starts Wednesday.
The one that matters is Wednesday.
The playoff's going to open, or the portal's going to open right after the playoff. Like, as long as these are student athletes and you have a spring semester that's going to start in January, I don't know how you fix it and not have the movement that you are having. It is just baked into what is wrong with college football, but I don't know what the solution is. And it really does stink. I know Rick Pitino put that out there the other day saying, like, could you imagine me as a 1 seed leaving before March Madness just because I have to? Like, it is a unique challenge to college football that the offseason acquisitions happen before the postseason even happens. It stinks.
And real quick, don't belittle what Ole Miss is also to the people that said Lane should stay, because here's the thing. If this was Ryan Day leaving Ohio State to go to Michigan, you wouldn't allow Ryan Day coach at Michigan in these situations,
right,
or Ohio State still.
Right.
It's because of the brand. Like this
LSU
brand.
and Ole Miss are rivals.
The rivals.
Yes.
You can't
do both.
You can't do both.
Just pick one. Good for Ole Miss standing up for themselves at the end of the day. And for Glenn Boyce, the chancellor, and for the athletic director, and not letting it get to that point. They had a spine at the end of the day. It took them a while to get there. But at the end of the day, they made the right decision. Of course, right. Like, you want to give all the concessions you can. I think there's maybe a world where he could have coached the SEC title had the Iron Bowl gone the other way and you don't get that fumble in the red zone and Auburn kind of pulls off that upset. But again, this idea that Lane could have done both is just nonsense. Nonsense. And I can't believe it was even really discussed as seriously as it was. Coming up, the Tennessee Titans were dominated yesterday by the Jacksonville Jaguars 25-3. Cam Ward had some very interesting things to say after the game that we'll react to, and we'll take a look at how things really got so much worse yesterday compared to the two previous games after the bye week. Coming up next. Jaguars 25, Titans 3 yesterday inside Nissan Stadium. Our reaction and your phone calls at 615-737-1045 on Ramon and Will. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. Let's hear from Cam Ward as we dive into the loss, dive into the aftermath, dive into the reaction from players. Ramon, things felt a little bit different yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to get your thoughts on some of the sounds here. Let's start with Cam Ward being asked about this offense making strides and making some progress. We heard this earlier in the first hour. No, you took some issue with what he had to say. Yeah. This is the comment from starting quarterback Cam Ward.
I mean, I'm big on results. So win-loss is the only thing I care about. Strides, we haven't made any strides. We've got the same outcome for the last couple of weeks. So it's more about just winning a football game now, no matter how it gets done, whether one side of the ball is playing good and the other side isn't, or special teams wins the game for us. But it comes down to just winning games.
Did you think that teams today was as interested as it's been in other weeks? You guys have more personal fouls than points. Seemed like a lot of guys weren't that into it.
You saying us? No, we into it every week. It's just the way, football goes. I mean, at the end of the day, the personal fouls, we had, the penalties, the bad plays that we had on offense, it all, supported the reason why we lost the game. And that's just something that unacceptable from just us as a organization, and that's just something that we got to improve on.
That's Cam Ward yesterday after the loss. You didn't love the first part of that.
As a player, as somebody watched this game, somebody want to see teams be built the right way, I hated that answer. Because he even doubled back on it hearing it the second time. Like, I agree with Cam. I agree with any player. Wins at the end of the day is awesome. But that's the case when you're winning football games, right? When you have the ability to be competitive, when you're in a position to say, yeah, we could have won that one. God, that was close. You say, man, wins and losses is what matters in that moment. I don't fully agree with his statement. And the second part of his answer was, strides. I'm not interested in making strides. Well, with the team that you have in the year that you are also having as a young rookie, strides is what gets you wins. You got to be able to build up the ability to understand, okay, the first 3 series of the games were good, or the first series, how do we make the stride to get the next one? If you're only worried about the end result, then that explains the freestyling. That explains the erratic play and the searching down the field. Like, my strides should be first level, second level, third level when I'm playing quarterback, right? Or first option, second option, third option. Saying it only matters in the end, wins and losses, well, that's how you win in Arizona. That's a sloppy win. That's not one that you take strides to win. That was an interception, fumble, touchdown. It's how you won a football game. That's the end results is you won. But most people will attack that and say, that's an ugly one. You should have lost that game. I think most people look back and say, you didn't deserve to win that game. The reason I say this for him is because, again, this ain't no attack on him. It's an attack on the mentality that they have as a team right now is in order to win football games and have the discussions about wins and losses, strides have to be made. You have to care about the small details in these types of moments, especially when you're a bad football team. I think it was BK that asked that question. Those strides matter.
Yeah.
And that's the part of it to where, like I said, moving forward, whoever his next coach is going to be, the breakdown of his mentality and his approach to the game has to be taken serious by him, and I think it will be. And also have to put yourself in position, as I said earlier, small dubs equal big wins later, equals longevity. I didn't like that answer by him, but I get, one, he's probably ticked off. He really experienced this without him having brought teams from the depths to be competitive. Mm-hmm. So all of this, respectfully, is new to him too. So I'll give him that grace.
Here's more from Cam Ward. What can be done to solve the self-inflicted wounds? How much has this season tested you and your faith in yourself and in a higher power?
No, I think no meeting or, could address that situation. It has to only be addressed on the field, and it's something that, starts in practice. It's something that we got to emphasize in practice. But, I mean, it's just unacceptable to be in the NFL and continue to, have these bad plays, from just all of us as a whole. And that's why, our record is what it is. But on the bright side, I mean, there's really nothing, that can get worse. We just got to continue to be better each and every day and continue to pull each other along, try to get wins.
You're the most sacked quarterback in the league right now. How much is that starting to wear on you, maybe physically or mentally?
I live the life of a quarterback. I play the next play. I live the next day. I like to live my life one day at a time. So how I'm feeling, it really, doesn't bother me. Someone in the world has it a lot worse, than I have. So that's just how I put it in perspective. I'm very blessed. God's blessed me with the ability to do what I love for a living. Not a lot of people get the chance to say that. He's given me the ability to, play football. So, every time, whether I'm hurt, whether I'm sore, whether I'm healthy, I just try to, go play through him, play for my teammates as well.
Do you feel like all of the things that you're going through, do you feel like it's testing your strength, your faith, your love for football, your ability to keep going?
Oh, for sure. It's for sure testing it. But, to win, you got to lose. So, at the end of the day, just continue to get better, try not to make the same mistakes each and every day. But, eventually the storm going to end. And, all of us in the locker room will remember all this moment. We'll remember the guys who's on the team of this year. And, we'll be excited for the future.
Titans quarterback Cam Ward speaking yesterday, mentioning that it's rock bottom, saying it's not going to get worse than this.
Don't say
that. I agree. And at the end saying, in order to win, you got to lose.
I agree with that.
It is as defeated as I've heard Cam Ward. And look, how can you blame him after that game? This did not look like professional football in this game. Now, you have a Jacksonville defense that played well. You have an offense for them that made enough plays. I think Jacoby Myers is a great addition for them, by the way. 6 catches, 90 and a touchdown in this one. A 50-yard catch that was a part of it. At one point, the Titans gave up 76 yards on back-to-back plays. From Jacksonville, a 26-yard completion to Parker Washington on 3rd down. Jacoby Myers after that. So, yes, that's a good team. And yes, they are tied at the top of the AFC South. But you went 3 and out 4 times, including 3 times in a row in the second quarter. Cam Ward went 24 of 38 for 141. He was sacked 3 times. Quarterback rating of 70.2. Why do you think he got worse yesterday, Ramon? What did Jacksonville do? What did Cam not do that we saw against Seattle and Houston?
I thought the need to want to be more productive. Like, if you look at Cam's helmet, I can't see his eyes because of the TV, and I'm not, in his meetings to see his helmet striped like that. His eyes were scanning down the field looking for the bigger play. I think he was in between trying to decide if he was going to go back to the old him. You look at the play where the ball got, smacked out of his hand. There was an attempt for him to stay in the pocket and live through coaching. What his coach was saying, Cam, you got to respect the pocket integrity. Stay in the pocket. There's going to be answers there. But then he's also trying to scramble inside of the pocket. If you're going to scramble inside of the pocket, just do it, right? It's that side, or just get outside of the pocket. When you look at him and his ability to want to make plays, a ball to who was it? I think it was Chimere DK over the middle where he threw it into the dirt. It was a drag, or it looked like a deep end.
Deep cross. Yeah.
Deep cross. He threw it into the dirt, and you see his delivery for as much as I know about football quarterbacking, like he was trying to just dart it in there as hard as he possibly could, and his technique went to crap. There's a lot of things that have to be fixed for him, and I think is honestly been overly honest with himself, which I believe he will be, and taking the teaching and resetting of playing quarterback in the league. There's a difference from college to NFL, and I think he's experiencing that for the first time. He stepped up in levels from going from Incarnate Word to Washington State to the ACC with Miami with better and better talent at each place that he's gone to. This is the 1%ers. And I think he has to approach the game in that way, too, and his delivery, his mindset. You're right. He sounded as defeated as I've ever heard him sound in his career. I think personally for himself, he either needs to have a camp around him this offseason that's brutally honest with him, or go speak to, and I think the Titans have one. I know they have one, a sports psychiatrist on this team. To be like, hey, this isn't all on you, and just honestly release some of this stuff. He seems like an isolated guy with how he approaches his job, which is great. But the greats that I know have people around them that can be honest with themselves and honest with others, too. He's trying hard right now, and that's why I think he's won a lot of this fan base over. It's where you can't criticize him, but I think it's also fair that if you can't hit a post route or corner route,
that's
on you, brother.
We can definitely criticize Cam. And I think maybe I'm reading too much social media, but I think I get characterized as the guy that makes too many excuses for Cam sometimes from many of you who listen to the show and comment. We got to have realistic expectations of what we expect, considering Calvin Ridley's really not been a factor this year through injury. We got to be realistic about the fact that this is a new play caller than what he expected, a different head coach than what he expected. He's not had the line play that he expected. All those things could be true, and Cam has got to be more accurate with the football and more decisive in when and where to go with it. In this game, Cam, I think, regressed in one key area a little bit. Completion percentage over expected was in the negatives again, minus 3.3%. 70.2 quarterback rating, 21 points below what he had against the Seattle Seahawks at 91.0. And again, we can be honest about the Seattle game. It was a good performance against a really good defense.
Yeah.
He was pressured 42% of the time. In this game, he's only pressured 31% of the time, but he's sacked 3 times. Had 13 total pressures. EPA of minus 27.3. Big time in the negatives in terms of the EPA per dropback. 2.82 time to throw. That's on average when Cam gets the ball, 2.82 seconds from the time it touches his hand to when it gets out of his hand. He was 3-0-2 against Seattle, but because he actually made some good plays on the run. There were a couple plays that kind of skewed that. It was 2.6 seconds against Houston. That's where he regressed to me.
Yeah.
Holding the ball too long, not trusting what your eyes are telling you. When I had my interview with Titans GM Mike Borgonzi for Titans Radio before the game, I do that every week on the field on Sunday morning and interview him, and you hear it on Titans Radio. I asked about, hey, Cam appears to have taken a step these last 2 weeks. What has impressed you? And that was Mike's comment, is he's just trusting what he's seeing. I didn't feel like Cam Ward gave his receivers enough chances to make plays. Now, if you give them a ball that is catchable and they drop it, that's a different conversation. And those were happening as well in this game. But on the 4th down and 6, where Elikai Manor drops a pass over the middle and you turn it over on downs, what happened on the 3rd and 6? You threw a ball in between a boundary defender, in between the flat defender and the safety over the top in cover 2. You had a wide open Elikai Manor, and you sailed it. There are too many not catchable passes that Cam Ward is throwing right now where he is not giving his receivers a chance to make a play. If that is going to be true, how are you going to impact the game in other ways? It's using your legs, and it's the pocket movement. It's the ability to open up windows. If you struggle as a tight window thrower right now, we can work on that. Let's go to the quarterback coach. Let's go, new head coach is going to come in. I think there are things that are really fixable technique-wise with Cam Ward. They're not big issues. I think there are a lot of little ones. But in the meantime, use your legs to open up more windows. If your receivers aren't getting a high level of separation and you can't put it on them.
Right.
There are other ways that you can impact the game, and I didn't see Cam do that yesterday.
And then also, too, his two tackles going to have to step up over these next 2 years. I think you got Dan Moore for next year and one more. I don't want to make this declaration, but I did when he came out in the draft about J.C. Latham. It might be time to start talking about moving him inside. His ability to comfortably kick and move athletically at times, and I say that as a big guy myself.
Sure.
I wasn't a NFL tackle. I did it for 1 year. I was extra tight end slash tackle, or tackle slash extra tight end. Then my last 4 games, I started at guard. Best career move I made. I'm not saying he doesn't have the athletic. He definitely has the athleticism. He has the strength. He checks every box. You might be a better team if you Mekhi Becton him.
That's exactly where I was going to go next. Mekhi Becton.
You be and
former Jets tackle, now Eagles, and presently Chargers guard.
Now negotiation times on how he gets paid as a guard or a tackle, that's between you and your agency at that point. But as far as career-wise and success, because longevity matters more than anything in this league, you can't have the big bag if you don't go have longevity, or you beat the reputation.
He's having trouble setting an anchor
and redirecting
and redirecting guys out on an island at tackle.
Yeah, did I not say it in the draft?
You did.
I said you can put him at tackle.
Yep.
Or what did I say the fallback plan was? Put him at guard.
It's really not ideal for J.C. Latham to play 3 positions in 3 years. You want to give him time to learn one and master it, but when Cam Ward's development is this important and him having a clean pocket is so critical, Ramon, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to look at every option. They have a right guard hole to fill this offseason with Kevin Zeitler on an expiring contract, who's already an older veteran anyway. They have a hole at right guard. I'm not opposed to it. And obviously, if you think it's legit, as you did when he was drafted, I trust your evaluation of offensive line infinitely more than I trust mine.
And also, too, for what it's worth, Dan has given up the most sacks in the NFL 2 years in a row currently.
Titans left tackle Dan Moore.
As it stands. Also, the other part of it, too, is like, where's your strength? They're also at this point, man, they're ranked last in the NFL per carry to the left side.
Yeah. The running behind the right side has been better. I know Zach Lyons was talking about that yesterday on Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. They have run better to the right than they have the left.
Which is what that's also been with Zeitler and what's his name over there, J.C. Latham. That's supposed to be the case.
Yeah.
It's just that the cutback is supposed to be there also on your left side to your center to your left side.
It is a big concern. It's a big concern. The Titans made the decision that a veteran left tackle, essentially on a 2-year deal, was going to give them a higher floor than drafting a second round or later left tackle and throwing him to the fire right away. That probably still was the right call, Ramon. But most of the time when teams do that and they have a left tackle that is not going to be a long-term answer, you know what they do?
What they do?
They draft a tackle before they have to have one.
Yes, sir.
And the unfortunate part of it for the Titans is that as many needs as they have, they don't have the luxury of doing that because they need a number 1 wide receiver. They need a number 2 wide receiver. They need a number 1 edge rusher. They kind of need a number 2 edge rusher. They might need an inside linebacker. They need 2 corners at least. They might need another safety. They need to find another guard. They probably are going to go find another center. So to that point, like, yes, getting a veteran stopgap left tackle was not the worst decision. It's just the fact that with where you are as a franchise right now, it's pick your poison. Do you want a rookie left tackle that might end up being great but is going to struggle for 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you don't. All right, well, then you go get Dan Moore. Typically, when you go get a Dan Moore type guy, you draft somebody to sit behind him and be waiting in the wings ready. That way they don't have to learn on the job and fail in years 1 and 2. The way the Titans drafted Taylor Lewan before they needed him. Then when Taylor was ready, they put him in. What happened? Earned himself a second contract, was one of the better left tackles in the National Football League when he got that opportunity.
And the issue that you're running into, to your point, is Chaz attached to Dan Moore.
Chad Brinker
attached to Dan Moore. You bring up the idea that you went and got first-round tackles a couple years in a row, and now you got a quarterback also that has to lay his head on Dan Moore stepping up next year. So, again, the conversation of who do you trust to make these decisions, like, respectfully, Chad Brinker's in on this one, too. And you also got to try to find a way to curate Cam so that you don't ruin him. And I do say that because Cam said at the end of that last statement, storm's in. Talk to me about Cleveland. That hurricane may settle for an hour, but sometimes storms don't win if you can't fix it holistically.
Cleveland, who with their loss yesterday to the San Francisco 49ers, have their 23rd losing season in 27 seasons since returning to the NFL in 1999. No other team had more than 17 losing seasons since 99 entering this season. Coming up, Jeffrey Simmons gave advice on what kind of coach the Titans need. More interesting audio from the Titans locker room that you'll hear next.
It's Will and Ramon here for Volunteer Traditions. Listen, if you're subscribers like we do and buyers like we are, then you would have received an email this weekend, man, telling you about their personal favorites that they have. Mason, man, who's the founder of Volunteer Traditions, man, he put out there his personal favorites, man, from the hooded sweatshirt, Will, to the rifleman hats. listen, I know the football regular season's done, but they got so much, Will, that's available to you, even in the off season, as it get cooler outside.
And there is no off season, Ramon, because they got basketball stuff, they've got baseball stuff, they've got whatever you need for yourself or for the Vol fan and your family this holiday season. And Volunteer Traditions has their biggest sale of the year. Amazing bundles and deals on premium Vols products. Get up to 40% off on premium apparel. The best deals of the best Vols products. You head online to volunteertraditions.com. Get it there. 40% off your favorite Vols apparel with amazing bundles and exclusive deals on polos, outerwear, tees, and hats. Started back on campus at 06. Voltrad still makes gear for Vols fans by Vols fans. Now with holiday savings you can't beat. Get 40% off online at volunteertraditions.com. Wrapping up the show at Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Buck Rising, cover 2, 3HL. Have you covered the rest of this Reaction Monday?
Mm-hmm.
Got by quick. Going to be back. I'm only back for 3 days this week, but it's good to be back.
Got a lot of good stuff going on, man.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, I don't think we're light on content when it comes down to discussions.
That's true.
Big one this weekend. I know we ain't hit the reset rule yet of Wednesday. But you got to go to Cleveland, and there's a nationwide boogeyman in the NFL that lives up there.
His name is Myles Garrett, and he's really good at football. Really good at football.
Barring anything crazy, he gonna shatter that sack-like record.
Yeah,
I'm not just talking about the Titans' perspective.
He's playing at a different level.
He's matched talent with hard work.
You know who else has done that?
Who?
Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, he has.
Speaking yesterday to the media in the locker room on the type of coach the Titans need next.
We need to figure something out. I mean, we got 5 games left for sure, but we got to figure it out. I mean, once we get through this season, I mean, we got to do a lot of self-reflecting. And whoever come in to be this head coach is, we need somebody who's going to lead this football team. I mean, that's it. We got to figure it out. Man.
Jeff, is it there a feeling of here we go again when bad things start to snowball like they did in the first half?
I mean, you try not to have that mindset during the game, but it's like, we trying to, going on this field playing snaps on defense. Like, I love to run out there on defense, but it's also like complimentary football. I mean, we're going to keep saying that we have to play complimentary football, and there's nothing that's clicking right now for the team.
When you say you need somebody who's going to lead this football team, you feel
we'll figure that out when I was season. But like I said, we got 5 more games, and like I said, hopefully we get somebody in here that the culture and everything have to be better around here. But we'll figure that out when we get to that. We got 5 more games left.
They were able to keep that drive alive on the roughing the punter penalty, and how tough was that? With it
talking about culture need to be better. Jeffrey Simmons.
Can we revisit this conversation tomorrow?
We absolutely can.
Because I hear it in Jeff's voice, and at the end of the day, the game ain't cute. Football in general, from middle school, high school, college to NFL, it's not a cute game. And I say that because the basics of football is physicality, efficiency, and just mindset. That's the reason I always joke basketball players. Sorry for Savage, but I joke them because it's the one sport in which you got to make a decision on that you want to do this every single play. Yeah, you can catch a football, but can you also catch a linebacker putting their face mask in your chest? Yeah, you're big and you're strong, but can you handle a 300-pound or 200? Can you handle a Jeffrey Simmons bull rushing you into the back of the quarterback and you're going to have to see him again on 3rd down? That was just 2nd down. And I hear that come out in Jeffrey's conversation right there, just like you hear him basically saying, I want to be told what to do and how to do it correctly.
That'll be tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about it. It is crazy. We've got 4 hours to do the show, and we still rarely get to everything we intend to get to. I had intended to spend a lot more time on that, and you know what? We get 5 days a week to do it, so tune in for that tomorrow morning. Austin Price will recap the Tennessee season and look ahead into the offseason with us at 8:20. Much more to come this week. Good to be back. Ramon Foster.
Vols fans, Titans fans, Mama said there'll be days like this.
Everybody hurts.
What I will say again, man, congrats to Vandy. You earned it and you deserved it, man. Do what you want when you popping. Y'all won and kneeling, man. But remember, there's always next year, and your Twitter fingers and your mic and bookmarks always hot.